afternoon, senior high school learners, and to all our viewers, especially to our all aspiring entrepreneurs who are now watching via FB Live at DepEd tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy. I am teacher Genevieve from Tanggub City National High School.
And I'm also teacher Sheila from Mayor Alfonso Tan High School.
We are your facilitators
For today.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Sher.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So today we will discuss the topics in the entrepreneurship subject, and later on is the inquiries, investigation, and immersion subject.
Okay, so let's begin with entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So in senior high school, ma'am, entrepreneurship subject is included in all tracks in responding the demands of the K-12 basic education curriculum, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. That's
And
true.
then?
So even in the program of TVL, yung mga
Academic tracks, example, ma'am,
tracks,
UMS, GAS,
ABM. So, dili na siya for ABM. So, like kay business CR, so ABM na siya automatic. So, na-include yun siya sa tanang curriculum sa senior high school. Because it's one of the exits of the key to 12. So, unsa itong mga exit nato, ma'am?
Yes, so which are naatay kolehiyo, ginatawag po natong middle skill development,
Yes, that's
naapod
it.
tay trabaho,
Trabaho ay negosyo.
and negosyo.
Bali, after sila mag-senior high school, so pwede sila mo-pursue sa college, continue
Yes.
siya sa college. If ever dili pa sila maka-continue sa college, pwede po sila magtrabaho, no?
Oh, yes.
Magtrabaho, mag-empleyo.
Yes.
Or middle skill development, which is magpa-train sa sila to
Yes.
earn or to acquire skills, additional skills. And then, this one, negosyo. Dire siya
Yes.
mo feel ang entrepreneurship.
Sa negosyo siya na belong.
Okay, so one of the exits. So our today's competency for entrepreneurship, that is discuss the relevance of the course.
Okay, so in all view, business are the foundation of the economy. So
Yes.
meaning to say, learners, entrepreneurs have an important role of the economic development
Yes.
by, of course, providing the necessary products and services, including the solution to unemployment.
That's correct, ma'am. So the entrepreneurs are encouraged by the economy because they can provide many opportunities to unemployed, especially sa mga youth, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. And aside from that, learners, it increases also the capital,
Yes.
the income, higher
higher
standard of living,
That's
and
it.
increased individual saving revenue to the
government.
government in the form of
Tax.
income tax,
Yes.
gitaan naman kabalo, taan as a teacher, value
value-added
added tax,
tax, the VAT.
export duties, import duties, and balanced regional development.
That's
Naana
right.
siya sa entrepreneurship
Okay.
subject.
Sa inyong SLM learners, na definition sa entrepreneurship o entrepreneur. So the enterprise is created by an entrepreneur, and the process is called entrepreneurship. So kinsa din is entrepreneur? Unsay papel niya?
Kung ato guno siyang Bisayon learners, kung miingon gutag entrepreneurs is kanang mga
Negosyante.
negosyante, di
Okay.
ba? Kanang mga negosyante mo na sige natawag nato entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur.
So kaning mga entrepreneurs learners, they are said to be
Innovators,
innovators,
yes.
willing to take risks and generate new ideas to make it unique and of course profitable solutions to the present day problems. So meaning to say, ang mga negosyante is said to be innovators.
Innovators,
Ano,
di
ano?
ba? Kaya unsa may purpose nga na magnegosyo man ka, ma'am? Especially sa imo na kay negosyo, di ba?
Of course.
Basta ka sa
Ang
mga
isa good,
entrepreneurs.
yes. Kanang isa sa mga reason nga nung magnegosyo ang tao is para makita, para maka-income, right? Okay. And ma'am, what is the relevance of this course?
Yes, the relevance of the course, first is the individual growth and development. The start is one. Okay, studying of entrepreneurship benefit learners from very socially and economic background. So because it teaches them to develop the unique skills and think outside the box. Kasi for example, naa sila'y skills within sa ilaha. So, pwede po sila mo acquire through entrepreneurship. Ma-learn pa nila ang another skill na magamit nila sa ilahang business.
Yes, and of
Okay.
course, learners, aside from that, it imparts confidence,
Yes, of course.
abilities of knowledge to come up with business ideas that involve helping them to learn about the core of business
Business
fields,
fields.
such as ma'am, accounting, finance,
Yes.
marketing, and sales. And
Okay.
aside from that, mo ni siya skills such as adaptability, effective communication and confidence. So mao na siya.
O, dapat magnegosyo ka, kabalo ka, unsaon pag, so manage ang imuhang
Yes, ang imuhang negosyo, ang imuhang business.
The resources,
Very good.
financially, di ba? How to budget and the cost. Okay. So, next is the ability to think critically. Okay. In entrepreneurship education shows for the learners an opportunity to learn and to think critically and analyze.
Mao gyud. So the learners must be exposed na sila ma'am in
Critical
real world
world
situations.
situations.
So as an entrepreneur, naa sila inani dapat nga abilidad.
Ability,
So mao na, don't you worry
Mag-quality
learners.
siya.
Yes, though you are still in senior high school, but then I know you have that capability already.
Yes.
All we have to do is to practice it. All we have to do is to develop your capability.
Yes.
Nga naa sa
Minaana mo,
inyo.
ability
Yes.
na naan sa
So
inyo,
that is why
within.
senior high school, most especially this subject, what we call entrepreneurship, is i-develop o i-practice ang inyong skills
That's
para
it.
ambot sa learning or sa to ang actual
Sa real
experience.
world
Yes,
situations.
sa real world is
you have that already.
correct.
Okay.
So maka-handle na dayon ta. Pero
That's it.
you know what, ma'am? Sa ato ang mga estudyante karon sa senior high school learners, correct me if I'm wrong, nasa ilaha uban pod nga bisag senior high school, as what I had told you, is nagnegosyo na,
Yes,
nag-start
yes.
online.
Okay,
So meaning to
that's
say,
with
those
online
online
business.
sellers, they are said to be innovators.
Innovators.
Why I say so? It's just because is naa na sa ilahang mind daan or naa sa ilahang mind o
Mana sa ilaha, within sa ilaha.
Yes, of course.
Mana sila ng
And then
ability,
ilang gi-develop,
diba?
nag-innovate nila nga,
Nila.
agoy, pandemic karon so unsa kay buhaton nato no, mintras para wa man tay mga balon ani, din
So,
wala magtatagaan og kuan ni
magamit
mama
makuha nila.
ay mamaligya ta
Yes.
sige. So tungod kay we are not allowed to go outside, of course kay kinahanglan
So,
o pandemic man
yes.
no. So mo do ay mag-online ta.
Online.
So meaning to
that's
say
a
learners
perfect business
though-
for this academic time, di ba?
Yes, of course.
Online selling.
So muna giingon learners na there is also an advantage of using Facebook.
Yes.
Di ba?
Social
You are not
media,
just
di ba?
you are not just scanning halatan-aw dito.
Oo.
So why not atong gamiton ang Facebook as a
Yes.
source of income? So meaning to say, you are going to sell, di ba? Mamaligya
Oo.
ta dito sa
Mamaligya.
Facebook. So meaning to say with that, I know for sure most especially those learners nga daghang mga followers.
Yes.
Di ba?
O, di ba? Mas daghan
Yes.
siyang maka-view or mas daghan pang mo, man mo, ganahan mo lang ta
Yes.
sa imo,
Ang uban gali
page
learners,
or
no?
mas
Yes.
mahalingan ka.
Correct. Ang uban gali learners ko while they are selling their products is ila pong kuanan og mga TikTok, di ba?
Okay. So, inaalam ko maagi.
How they are going to convince
the consumers.
Yes. All right. And now learners, we have also here as an entrepreneurship, you have to make a difference.
So, what is
So
that,
you
ma'am?
have to build a unique mindset, learners, in identifying the real needs and problems and solving them that needs to be solved or develop a solution. So meaning to say,
Okay.
if you think na, ay, dili siya ko, dili halinon ako ang baligya.
Yes.
So you have to make a difference.
I-innovate ni mo siya.
I-innovate,
I-develop ni mo
yes.
siya.
So you
para
have to
makita
identify-
gid siya.
Yes,
Para
ma'am.
dili siya mo out sa market. Dapat naagi siya dito. Nakaposisyon
Yes,
gid siya
very
dito.
good.
Dili siya nimo, dili siya left behind sa market.
Correct.
That's why imo siyang i-develop
Yes.
ang imuhang product or business. Okay.
And aside to develop, ma'am, kinahanglan po siguro nila, o kinahanglan ninyo i-identify ang problema po.
Okay, that's
Let's say,
it.
for example, nganong dili halinon ang imuhang baligya? Ngano ka
strategic,
wala gurot
di ba siya
siya, no?
dapat?
Uy, sayang ka.
Unsay problema?
Unsay problema?
Identify the
ani?
problems sa imuhang
Yes, so you have,
negosyo.
very good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, another is living with the rest. Okay, from the business perspective, rest is a natural occurrence. Kung ba, normal siya, di ba?
Yes.
Risky kayo. Kung baga, ba, maingon siya nga gambling, di ba? Gamble ka.
Kung ano good learners, kung business-minded ka, kung negosyante ka,
You have
dapat
to think
you
it,
are
diba?
ready to take a risk.
Risk, okay.
Dili magud
So,
na sila magtan-aw ma'am og kuan ma'am kanang failures.
Failure, kung baga positive lang din
Kung
siya.
unsa ang ilang gitan-aw
In
dito
the
is
future.
pila akong kitaon
Oh,
ani.
hindot
Dili
kayo,
din
no?
sila mukha nga magawas-gawas lang tagpuhunan ani.
Dili
then
ka
human.
ito, failure
Oh,
day
no,
gapon. So,
yes.
ang negosyante gyud, iya yung buhaton gini ang tanan para lagi mo success siya sa iyahang negosyo.
Negosyo,
Okay, to be
okay.
successful, it requires working in the character traits and persistence and taking the rest. So, muna yung pinaka-importante. And it's beneficial for learners when they are already in the real life situation. So, muna yung
That's
pinaka-importante
it,
point sa
learners.
entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So, mga
If you're-
pamaagi.
yes, if you will be exposed soon to be be learners or i-expose bitaw mo learners dito na dayon ninyo makita na dayon.
Makita
Okay, ang
nimo
katong
sa
mga gipang
hitabo.
discuss ni teacher, nakatong
ma-apply nila.
yes, itong gipang hatag na situation ni teacher. So with that situation, you're going to apply all this in the real life situations. Okay. So of course, here learners, as an entrepreneur also, you have to be ready for an uncertain future.
So, what kabalo in the future? Diba?
Yes.
Uncertain siya. So, naay mga maitabo.
Yes.
What
Okay,
kabalo.
so learners may be faced for an uncertain future full of global difficulties.
Like this one.
Yes,
Ang
just
nga
like
nahitabo
here.
karon.
Yes,
Pandemic.
we are facing pandemic. So
Pandemic.
creating role na siya
Role.
niya, ma'am.
Okay.
We have also responsibilities and challenges for the
For the
workforce.
Within yun sa imuha.
Yes.
Sa mga
Say, for example, kung
trabahante.
ikaw mo'y gadala sa imuhang negosyo and then na mga trabahante. So,
Yes.
of course, you know how to manage. Kaya you
Manage
are the
din mo
manager.
sila. Yes, of
so, mo nang
course.
importante kaayo, no? So, isa sa mga tan-awuno, no, is a global difficulties.
Yes.
Ang creating role
Role and
responsibilities
responsibilities
and
of-
challenges for the workforce.
Yes.
So, therefore, there is no right prediction of what is needed to know.
To know.
Ano siya.
Okay.
So, takabalo po sa umaabot. Pero, as what I have told you learners,
So,
as
mo
a
na siya
businessman or as a business-minded person, nagtanaw na sila sa kuan.
So, you have to,
Nagtanaw,
there are
yes.
things that you are going to consider.
Parehaba ng
Kasi
kuan
hindi mo na-
learners. So, for example, kanang naggama og dala, no? Di ba, naa sila karatula ibutang diyan na soon to be
Yes.
rice. Or
Soon to
sakto
be
ba ko,
rice.
ma'am?
Tinuod.
Soon to be
Mura
rice.
siya, oh.
So, meaning to say, an engineer palang daan, naggunahuna
Nakita
na,
na
nakita
niya.
din na
Oh.
nagunahuna.
Oh.
Nakita na
Nakita na
nila
niya.
nga, okay, so,
Padulong ang dalan.
yes.
Unsa ba kaning klase nga dalan? Straight
So, as
or
a
unsa ba?
businessman also, or as a business-minded person, aka na mga negosyante, nakita na po na
Negosyante,
nila.
gini si Ma'am Gil.
So, nakita na lang nila.
Practice good niya si Ma'am Gil.
Diba, nakita na na. You know what, learners? Ayaw mo pag-ingon nga, may mang kamam kay business. No,
oriented.
everything can be learned. Actually,
Yes.
everything can be learned.
Actually, kita rin negosyante, man yun,
yes.
diba?
We have here,
Therefore,
we have the innate, naana sa ato ang capabilities
Ay,
and abilities.
to do
And
such
learners, that is why we have the subject entrepreneurship,
Yes.
because we teachers are going to guide you and to help you and develop your skills. Alright? Okay, mga na siya.
Okay, the program of entrepreneurship teaches learners essential life skills that will survive to the uncertain future. So, mo na siya. Okay, all that had been mentioned are the qualities of innovative entrepreneur must have. Okay, living with the rest is what separates entrepreneurs from any individual.
Alright, so mga na siya. And of course, becoming an entrepreneur, learners,
Yes, of
your
course.
money, of
Okay.
course, importante, your
money.
time, your
Yes.
ideas,
Yes.
organization, and personal
Personal.
dignity that you are trying to build in the community will be put into rest.
Yes.
Why we say this to you? It's because kung negosyante ka, consider of course, na kay puhunan.
Yes,
Why
of
is it
course.
nga if magnegosyo ta, if dili kayo ka open-minded, you're going to say this word, daoy, wala ko'y puhunan. But
wala ko'y
according
puhunan.
to some of the
Pwede
writers,
na siya, no?
yes. But ma'am,
Ang
as
mo
what
ng
I had
resources
wrote,
na,
yes.
kang naala sa available sa imuha,
Yes.
pwede mo siyang inigosyo,
That's
di ba?
it. So according to,
Bisag way-
I forgot the name of the entrepreneur. I
Yes.
think Robert Kiyosaki. Nalimot lang ko na kung kuan daw isa sa mga answers sa mga pag-i-offeran sila negosyante is ay wala pa mi puhunan.
Oo,
But
wala
actually
puhunan.
that's
Ganahon
that's
sa
not
capital,
a problem.
monetary matter lang gyud nahuna.
Kay according to one of the entrepreneurship, kung unsay naa sa imuha,
Yes,
gamitan na
available.
siya. So for
Available
example,
resources.
if you are an English teacher, then
Okay.
you don't have, ibutang, example lang yung teacher ha, ibutang talag ako, example, si teacher Sheila, ibutang talag, I don't have a, what we call this one, I don't have a
Money.
puhunan.
Oh,
yes.
yes,
Gusto
capital.
ako mag-extra income, but I don't have money or puhunan. So since I have these skills nga, abi, murag talkative ra pud ko, then kabalo ra pud ko
Yan ang
may istorya,
Murag-
English teacher ko.
Yes.
So what if I am going to apply an online,
Online
teaching,
class,
which is,
diba?
that is my skill.
So,
meaning
wala
to
yung
say,
money na involved.
Yes. You
Only
are
lang, only lang kung na-internet available.
Yes.
Diba?
Ma'am, wala internet, ma'am. Sa
Ay,
una na.
makikonnect ko.
Beta, so
Libre.
meaning to say, use your resources. kung
Yes,
say
of
naa sa
course.
inyo, ha.
Available
Okay.
sa inyo.
It's just lang that. So, meaning to say your money, and then of course your time.
Your idea.
And your ideas. Kinahanglan na to ang inyong ideas na
Ideas.
unsaon kay para mas mo spread, para mas mo dako ang ako ang
Dili lang
business.
gyud nga diha sa four walls lang jud ka nga dili ka mo gawas dira sa box, di ba?
Yes.
Kinahanglan ka.
So
think
para sa ato
outside
nga
the
nagsugod
box.
pa lang learners, dili pud sa ta mga ambisyon katong dagko
Dagko na kayong kapital.
Ato
Unsa lang
ginagmay
na
lang
sa inyo ha?
Yes.
Available sa inyo ha. Alright. So taking the risk, however, does not mean going into business blindly and then expecting great results. So instead, successfully approaching risk requires careful planning and strategy.
So that is
muna
why
siya.
learners, kung nakabantay bitaw mo sa mga tindahan, mapagagmay o dagko, manira na sila or na mga manira diha og mga alas 6, alas 7, alas 8. So why? Because they
Mo
are
pa na
going to
ilaha.
have their
Yes.
their inventory or
Inventory
mura siyang meeting
within
ba
that
na
day.
pilay sales nila karon, ni taas bata ning baba,
I-account
ano ning
nila.
baba man ta kay ma'am na aday kaatbang dito ma'am. Di ba inana? So kung inaana ang mahitabo, sa for example na atay competitors or na atay kakompetensya. So meaning to say they are going
Makita
to
gyud nato
plan.
tayo ng problem and
Yes.
then identify na dayon nato kung unsa ato ang plano.
Plan or ato ang strategy na
Strategy
dayon.
nga mabuhat para makakompete ka sa the other.
Say for example, kay since we are in pandemic, right?
Oo.
So naa sa uban nga, dili ta kagawas kay kuan ta lockdown ta Saturday.
Lockdown.
So kabalo
So, bawal
ba
ang
mo?
personal selling. So,
Kabantay
dili mahalin
ba
yung
mo
product.
na ana dayoy nag-post to, available ang ato ang leche plan ko,
available.
free delivery.
Oh,
Di ba?
automatic, house to
Automatic.
house.
House to house.
Manid
So,
agad.
So unsa na siya ma'am? Strategy.
Strategy.
Strategy
That's a plan
na
and
siya para
strategy.
sa ato ang
Ngayon mo
kuan.
giplano dayon gi strategy gamit
Yes,
mo. Gi-apply
of course.
nimo.
So, alright, ma'am. So, we have in there also the relevance of the course to an organization.
Okay.
So, what is
So,
it?
the first one is development of managerial capabilities. Diba? Kaya kita, if mag-involve tag business or ma-engage tag business, manager automatic man yun ta, diba?
Yes.
So, we are going to develop our capabilities as a manager. So, the greatest significance of entrepreneurship lies in the fact that it helps in identifying and developing managerial capabilities of entrepreneurs. Okay, an entrepreneur studies a problem. So, iyang studihan kung say problema and then identifies its alternatives and compares the alternatives in terms of cost, kanang mga gasto baka sa imuhang product, and benefits implication, and finally chooses the best alternative. So, muna itong gina-develop when you are a manager. Kay
Yes.
entrepreneur man ka, you are the manager of that business, of your
Of
business.
course. Okay, so you have also to identify, ma'am, no, and developing managerial capabilities.
Yes.
So, mao na siya giingon ni ma'am na you have to identify kung unsaon nimo pag-manage ang imuhang
Pag-manage ang imong
business, most
negosyo.
especially if you are handling ubay-ubay nga mga employees,
Okay.
right? Okay ra siguro og duha pa mo or tulo.
So, here
okay.
din yung full ang creation of
Creations, yes.
organizations.
Okay, so next we have also creation of organization. Since if you are the manager of
Yes.
that business, mapagamay man na siya or mapadako, you are considered as a manager. So
manager,
meaning to
okay.
say, entrepreneurship results in the creation of organizations when entrepreneurs assemble and coordinate
Yes,
physical,
physical.
human, and financial resources and direct them towards achievement of objectives through managerial skills.
Considering the people within your organization.
Correct. So managerial
Managerial
skills,
skill yun ang ginagamit. Ma-create siya. Kung magnegosyo, kung ikaw isa ka entrepreneur, naagi na siya. Di ba?
Yes.
Labor, the
Oo.
resources,
Kay
the raw materials.
Yes, kung saan ni mo, kung
The
buta na mo na
capital.
ma'am, no, is kuan biya siya, dili pud sayon.
Dili
Na
sayon.
magdala ka og business, most
Yes,
especially if
tinuod.
nagdala pud ka og grupo kay when you are a business, then you are the manager, meaning to say is
You're
mura ka
different,
build og
diba?
organization na pod.
Different individual ang imuhang
Yes.
mga labor. So that is why ikaw mo manage ka. Then
Ang
you have
una
to
nimong
develop-
i-manage ana ang imuhang sales,
Sales,
pilay
of course.
kita, di ba?
Marketing.
Ang
Oh, kanang
marketing
pagpag-deal
nimo.
mo sa product.
Yes,
Saan mo
ang
pag-deal
product,
yung
very good. Okay?
Okay. So,
Then of
another-
course, kinahanglan pod ang people or katanggingon nga organization or people, right? Or
yes.
human. Why man? Di ba kabantay mo class nga na ay mga dili gyud na most of the employers are being trained. Gi-train
of
nila nga
course.
sa
Dapat
unpa
naslay-
atubang sa
skill.
customers, di ba?
I-develop po lang skill.
Yes.
Kanang mo para ilang production perfect o paspas,
Paspas.
di ba?
Kana siya.
Okay. See, another is improving the standard of living.
Living.
So, mo siya, by creating productive organizations, kanis entrepreneurship helps in making a wide variety of goods and services available to the society, which results into a higher standard of living for the people. So, nakita na to sa atong locality, ba, di ba, naghan kayong na maligya na, bisan og different ko na mga businesses. So, nakita na ito numrang na ang standard of living nagka-taas, nagka-increase na po siya.
Kay nakita siguro nilang ma'am nga kuan siya murag nindot
siya. So,
kay nga naman position of luxury
luxury
cars.
o posible.
As an example,
kung
makita
feasible
nila.
kayo mong negosyo, di ba? In the
Yes.
future, basin alam, makapalit na kuan eh. O, di
Yes.
ba? Mangarap ka na.
Lagi, kung mangarap ka na, okay, lubos-lubos
Bahala
mo
na.
Yes. Then
Basta, negosyo lang yun.
Yes, of
Negosyo.
course. Computers.
Then mobile phones, di ba? A rapidly growth of shopping malls, di ba? And then point to the rising living standard of people. All these are due to the efforts of the
entrepreneurs. Pero you know what, learners? Para bitaw sa mga dagko nga company, ma'am, is dili kayo na sila nagagasto. Though pag naana sila yung luxury cars, dili na kaya sila mo palit. Kaya nga naman, kay mo, mangita naman po sila laing business para ilan na pong dapatan na kailangang money.
Lahi po nilang target.
Lahi po ilaha. Okay, so mauna siya, learners. So, it doesn't mean kung ning taas-taas na ang ato ang negosyo is, we are going to buy all we want.
Diba? Mga luxury na, di na kayo mo needs, di na kayo kinanglanon.
Yes, if you think, muna siya na asset and liabilities na dayon. If you think nga dili siya needed, kasi may mga bagay na kanabitang butang na walay gamit kasi, dili siya kasublan o kwarta, di ba yung ana, no? So, dili na lang natin siya.
Gawas ang kwarta, murag ma-charge as expenses na lang dayon.
Pareha ng multi-cab learners. Halimbawa, ibutang talang learners, nagtukod ka o bakery, then ning angat-angat na gamay. Ang multi-cab, kung dili nimo siya gamiton as kanabitang delivery, mahimo na siya. Saan na siya, ma'am? Liabilities.
No, expenses na siya, ma'am.
Additional expenses.
Okay.
Pero kung gamiton nimo siya
para your delivery, so that will be your asset.
Your asset. Gamitin siya, di ba? Asset and liability. Maura yun na siya, learners. Ayaw libuga.
Financial matters.
Yes, okay. So, we have also here impact on community development. So, what is the impact on community? Yes. So, many learners, the skill obtained in studying entrepreneurship like financial literacy, money management, and strong interpersonal skill, which are not only helpful, but also applicable in our day-to-day life and transaction. Mauna siya, impact. Okay? So, meaning to say, the entrepreneurship study is a beneficial to society and the benefits of all entrepreneurs in the economy. First, unsa man, ang iyang impact first is high quality of life. And most importantly, ma'am, kini siya, new jobs. So, naghatag siya opportunity sa mga gusto, sa mga unemployed nga mga gusto makatrabaho.
Alright. Another is means of economic development. Okay, an entrepreneurship involves creation and use of innovation ideas. So, maximization of output from given resources and development of managerial skills. So, muna itong gisutan ago, di ba, ma'am? All these factors are essential to the economic development of a country. So, this means that not only the life of the entrepreneur is improved, but also the society where the business is located. Diba?
Yes.
Okay, kung mas daghang negosyo ana ang lugar, mas ang standard of living ana sa mga tao within that locality or sa inana nga lugar, so mo-enhance po siya, mo-incline po siya, di ba? Okay. So let's summarize the discussion. The relevance of entrepreneurship to the learners and its society are the following. So first one is prepare learners for livelihood even before college. Diba?
Yes.
Sana pa sila sa ilahang senior high school stage that pwede sila magnegosyo to prepare in the future pod.
Okay. So you have to prepare before ta mag-college.
Prepare.
Okay, so we have also here entrepreneurship aids students from all socioeconomic backgrounds to think outside the box and nurture unconventional talent talents and skills. As what I had told you, learners, naana mo ana nga skills.
Yes, i-develop lang
Yes.
Diyos ni
All
entrepreneurship.
Very good. In entrepreneurship, all you have to do is to develop yun og
Yes,
taman.
that's
So
it.
that is why Teacher Sheila and of course Teacher Jeb is
Yes.
here for you to, for us to help you and to guide you.
develop. Yes.
Most especially those learners nga gusto
Yes,
mag-negosyo.
for the entire semester.
Yes, for the entire semester. Okay, next
Alright.
ma'am.
Another is entrepreneurship develops their initiative and helps them to be more creative and self-confident in whatever they undertake and to act in a socially responsible way.
Yes, of course,
Okay.
mauna siya. You have to develop your initiative, okay?
Initiative.
To be more creative.
Creative.
And of
Okay.
course, dili gini siya mawala ang
Baga
self-confidence.
kay na si entrepreneur na dahil.
Yes. But in a good way. Bahalag bagag nang but in a
At
good way,
magamit
learners.
yun siya, di ba?
Yes, in whatever they undertake and to act in a socially
Socially
responsible
responsible
way.
way.
Na ay responsible way nga
Responsible
word.
din siya.
Okay. And of course, learners, it exposes, okay, to numerous opportunities to learn how to think critically and to analyze the pieces on the board. So you have to develop
Your
critical
critical
thinking.
That's
Nganong
it.
na ang may critical thinking diha, ma'am? So say for example, if your business is facing a problem, nagkag-ubos ang
So,
iyahang marketing o ang
okay.
iyahang pag-ubos sa marketing.
Marketing
So you
niya,
have to think
critically.
Maguna-una na dayon
kag gamito ni apply na nito nimo ang
Yes.
iyang mong managerial skill.
managerial
Diba?
skills kay daghan gyud siya
Using
mga possible solutions.
solutions.
Ngano ka ang gamay ra
Muna ka.
nakita karon, so you are looking for possible solutions. So meaning to say,
daghang
kinahang-
exit kunuhay siya,
Yes.
diba?
Okay,
Daghang
nahalagyan.
mga ways on how to solve your
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Okay. Another is being aware of all the important factors and saying how they affect each other is the foundation of a smart decision making process. It's a process. Okay. For decision making.
Okay. And next, students must be exposed into real-world examples and learn from your own experience.
experience.
Ika nga nila, learners, experience is the best teacher.
Teacher.
Kay dito na magud na to makita dayon learners ang real situation.
Okay, kay
kay kung magkuan la ta, mag-theory lang ta, okay, this
pura
and
na
that,
theory. Wala
murag
application.
smooth pa kayo ang flow. Smooth
Nang
kayo ang
ending
flow.
sa real world situation, di na to
Ah,
ma-apply.
yes.
Di na to makita kung sa di ay mo buhaton. So,
Yes,
so
mauna
here's
siya.
entrepreneurship na to sa for the entire semester. Atong i-apply ang atong
Yes.
ginabuhat na business plan.
Correct.
I-implement na to in the future.
So,
Okay.
ano kinahanglan na to i-develop, learners? Because whatever problems may arise sa imuhang business,
Ready na
meaning to
ka.
say, you
Usaon.
are ready.
Okay.
Usaon nimo siya pag-handle.
Ayan.
You know what, learners? Naay ubang mga businessmen or mga negosyante pod nga rise and fall ang ilang kuan.
lahat. Pero wala din sa misuko, di ba?
Yes,
Mga
lahi uban nga
entrepreneurs.
nawala lagi to siyang inani ang iyang negosyo.
Pero lahi na
O,
iya.
pero lahi na po dayang
Lahi na
iyang
po diyang
kuan. So that's it then. And that's
Alright.
what we call strategy also.
That's it. So, entrepreneurship requires the students to be innovative. That's it. Pinaka basic na siyang innovative. Kay kung dili nimo innovate imo ang product, what will happen? Mabihan ka sa market. Mabiya ka, mawala imo.
Isa gyud sa mga innovative mga nakita
Qualities
nako
sa
is
sakit.
kato yung nag-live selling. Kabantay ba mo bisag mga tanom i-live selling na
selling
nila
na. Daghan na kay misuon, no?
innovations.
Yan siya. Creative and collaborative with others.
Okay. So next we have here budding entrepreneurs with the skills and knowledge to come up with business ideas and develop their own ventures.
So magbuhat na silang kagulong negosyo.
Yes,
in the
of course.
Alright, let's proceed to our activity. Based on the topic that we had discussed today, kindly answer the activity found in your self-learning materials. So you are going to discuss the relevance of entrepreneurship in your life, o di ba, as a student or unsa ba, and to the society as a whole. Okay, that's it. So, stay tuned, learners, because later on we are going to take up another subject, which is increase investigation and immersion after a short break. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Mati ay sa'yo. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sa'yo. Sa duha tulo, upat lima unom, ang mati ay sa'yo. Ang mati ay sa'yo. Ang mati ay sa'yo.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, so now learners, we have our inquiries, investigation, and work immersion subject. Okay, so for our competency for today, so at the end of the lesson, learners, you are expected to prepare a plan and
Yes.
focus on issues and ideas in your respective field.
Yes.
Anyways, our topic for today is all about brainstorming of the research topic. So, why is it important to learn these things? Because for the reason that as a senior high school, this topic is designed to test your skill. We are talking about skill.
Skill, yes. So,
Diba?
ma-apply po nato diri sa atong
Yes,
inquiries na
ma-apply po natin
subject.
siya di ani. In understanding and comprehending the different
Activities.
So this is a new approach in selecting topic which of course incline in your
That's
interest.
it.
So di ba kung incline na siya sa inyong interest, so,
So,
katong
follow na dahil to siya, ano,
Sa
nga imuhang
entrepreneur-
entrepreneurship nga.
Yes.
Okay. And now, learners, are you ready? Let's begin.
Alright, since we're talking about brainstorming, so it has been said,
Yes.
when we wonder, thoughts are coming through, and we feel like searching in the internet for some answers, right?
Okay.
Kung magunahuna ka, ma'am.
Magunahuna ka.
So because when we wonder, we feel like researching for it. Kung natin mga dili na ito masabtan, ato gid ng i-research.
Inala, Jud. Siya, no,
Yes.
kay curious man ka. So,
Yes.
dapat mag-research jud ka.
Yes,
Unsay-
and in this subject, we search the answers scientifically.
Yes.
Okay?
Proper way, good siya unsaon, no?
Yes.
Okay, so prepare your ball pen and your printed self-learning materials for we will be brainstorming the research topic. Again, at the end of the lesson, you are expected to prepare a plan and focus on issues and ideas in their respective field.
Okay, so maggama na dayon mo og plan.
Plan. Okay.
Base sa inyo ang gi-brainstorm ng
Or
mga topics.
research baka ha.
Yes,
Diba?
alright. So
Ang mga
before we
topics.
start, let's unlock first the keywords na
Okay.
makita nato sa ato ang topic today. So first, we have here inquiry. It is a
Yes.
question which you ask in order to get some information. So it is the process of asking in order to find out more about it.
Okay.
We have also investigation.
Investigation, alright.
From the word investigate. It is the
Investigate.
proper inquiry or efficient study.
Study. Okay, another one is immersion, di ba? It is the process of learning a skill by using nothing else but the skill.
Pareha ganun lang, ma'am. Di
Skill
ba?
gyapon, no?
Skill.
We're
Gyapon sa
talking about
learners.
skill.
Yes.
Okay, it is the fact of becoming completely involved in something. So,
Yes.
naagit siya something. So, you have to do
Alright.
it. Alright, so another is a research study. Research is like exploring things to come up with the best idea or ideas to respond the needs of the society.
Alright. Okay.
As this one is a concept, di ba?
Yes.
Concept is conceptual representations, abstracts, objects, or abilities that make up the fundamental building blocks of thoughts and beliefs.
Very good. Okay, so now learners, let's move on to natural inquiry.
Okay,
What's
so
natural
natural.
inquiry? Actually, it is a method that has the aim of extending knowledge, undertaking doubt, or solving a problem.
problem.
Again, learners, since we are going to talk about brainstorming, diba?
Okay.
So,
lagi-
pwede kaayo mo mag-brainstorm.
diba?
We will discuss
Sharing of, di ba?
ideas. We will dwell or we will discuss that one later on.
Later
okay?
on.
So now, to give you an idea to prepare for our research, you may do the inquiry-based learning using the following.
Okay. That's it. So what are those following, ma'am?
Yes. Okay, first we
one
have
is
focus.
Yes, focus.
Na makita ninyo na sa inyong SLM learners.
Tapos sa
Next,
slide.
we have decide
Okay.
of a topic.
Yes.
Number 3, understanding the problem. And of course, the last one, we have design on the problem.
So muna siya buhaton para steps para maka-prepare ka og plano for your research,
Yes,
di
our
ba?
research. Okay, next.
Okay, learners, in deciding a topic, it is much better kung mag-brainstorm mo sa inyong group para makakame up mo og relevant and successful na research.
Yes, okay. So, since learners, we are in challenging time brought by the pandemic, you will have a choice if you would like to work with a group or conduct a research project on your own.
Yes.
Brainstorming is still possible. Kay bisan patuod og pandemic, ma'am, then saan na mo man kung mag-group
Virtual.
mo? O pwede
Diba?
naman mag-virtual or
Sa
tawag-tawag
Messenger
lang,
ba ka,
or sa
ha?
Messenger, yes. Unsa ka importante ang brainstorming? Anyways, before anything else, what is brainstorming? Unsa rin ang
Saan siyang
brainstorming,
brainstorm,
ma'am? Okay, brainstorming is a way of inquiring ideas,
Yes.
which will help you to develop concepts of the persons involved in the said issues.
Yes.
So mag-isgot mo, mag-share mo og ideas kung
Usa.
isa kay mga possible na to nga himuon na tong topics sa to ang research which is inclined sa inyong
Field, di ba? Field of
Yes.
specification ninyo.
Field of specifications. Mao na
Okay.
siya, ma'am.
So, mao na
So,
siya
kung ikaw
importante.
kay ABM ka, so ayaw pud og adto sa
STEM.
Sa STEM.
Lalahi mong field.
Yes,
So,
that's
lalahi
it,
mong
ma'am.
field.
Mao na itong
So,
gusto
pwede na siya
iklaro.
sa inyoha lang sa inyong kuan,
Yes.
yung research.
So, mao na itong gusto iklaro learners ha, kay lahi man mo
Lahi
ang
ang
field.
field.
Na ay STEM, na ay UMS, correct me if
May
I'm wrong,
industrial
ma'am.
arts, so
Yes,
lalay
so
sila og
natay
field.
TVL.
So, focus lang sa kadto sa imong field.
Focus ka sa imong strand.
That's- sa
Kumbaga.
imong strand.
O say for example, TVL, yung imuha daing hisgutan or inyong hisgutan nga gi-brainstorm yung research topic
Lahi
kay
siya.
lahi
Dili
siya.
ka pa relate, di ba?
Oh,
Di ka pa
yes.
relate.
Yung adto noon ka sa kuan, ma'am.
So, lisod kayo. Mas lisod
ABM
siya.
ba to? Yes,
Oh,
mas lisod. Much better if you are going to brainstorm your topic which
or
is
the issue nga inyong gisgutan,
Yes, topic
the
or
same
issues
or
nga
sa inyo hagyod nga kaugalingon
inclined sa inyong strengths at the
Strengths.
same time na-incline siya sa inyong strength.
Na-align
at the same-
siya sa
yes,
inyong-
na-align siya sa inyong strength at the same time is interested in you.
Yes, of course.
Divine Ana.
Okay. So, to unlock the challenges, would you be interested in joining? So, let's do the following. So, to come up with the best idea or ideas, think of a problem. And then, regarding your chosen field of specialization as a senior high school student.
Yes.
That's
So,
it.
nauna, unsa man ang imong strength karon kung ikaw bay gas,
Oh, STEM ba
ABM
ka?
ba ka ha, or
Oh,
STEM?
UMS ba ka ha?
Yes, very
Okay.
good. So, you have to think of a problem.
Problem. Possible. nga related sa imong
Yes,
field.
you're right, ma'am. Think of a problem which is possible, topic nimo which is related to your strand.
Yes.
So for example, learners, kanya mong i-discuss karon, this example is mauna ni siya ang-
Specific yun siya into a
Yes.
certain or kanang particular field. Okay.
So, mauna siya example. Say for example, if you are in the accountancy and business,
Business
management,
management,
ma'am, or
okay,
ABM
ABM.
strand ka, butanta lang, kinibe. ABM strand ka.
Negosyo
And then you
gyapon ta.
observe that your school canteen
That's
food
it.
products display was not saleable.
Okay.
Okay, ABM ko din. Hala, ma'am, nakita na ko, ma'am, ba, na ang mga pagkaon din na mo sa mga school canteen.
Canteen, dili
kay
halinon,
siya
no?
halinon.
Oh,
So, of
so
course,
may
the
tabo.
first question run in your mind in
Why
ano
is
to?
it
Yes,
happening?
why is it
So,
happening?
mahitabo man siya. So,
You may list or prepare some possible solutions or
Yes.
descriptions. So you would say, example, your possible topic.
Oh.
Okay, dili saleable ang mga products dito. So we need to say your possible topic rather. Here,
Products are not saleable
in the
in
school
canteen, yes.
So kuan pa na siya murag, sa pa na siya mura pa na
Broad
siya.
kay siya, no? So, baga,
Kay
pero
preparation
imo pa siyang,
po, kaya
plano
brainstorm
pa
pa
man.
man mo, kay plan pa man po siya.
Okay.
Next, your possible solutions. Ano yung kang dili siya halinon?
O, di ba? Kung sa'yo posible.
Ako maligyan mo ano, mo ninahalin, oy. Diba, of course, the first solution, kung manahunaan mo ay customer preference.
Ay, basin og lahi ang taste niya. Dili ganahan ang mga customers.
Juicy ang
Oh.
customer.
Juicy sila.
Okay, or we have
Limited-
also here,
Limited daily allowance.
budget.
Basin di ay food, wala ikapalit.
Mo
Magbuot
na
ka ma.
Diba, so considered also the community.
Yung
sa
market,
example, kami dito
diba?
sa
Yung
bukid.
market, itawag yung
I-consider na
market.
ito, ma'am, mo, sulod na po na siya sa entrepreneur, ma'am. Kaya for example, kung taga-bukid ka din mo, baligya ka
Bala-
dito og mga
Bali,
hamburger.
di ata nga balon sa fairness,
Oo.
dostra siguro. Nya,
Yang
yung
mo
hamburger,
baligya dito
tag
kan french fries, hamburger, katong
Tag 10 or sa ba? More than that sa ilahang
Also
allowance.
the daily allowance budget.
That's
So,
it.
lahi na po ng story learners. But for now, let's focus this brainstorming topic. Okay? So, and next we have poor
For
customer
customer
service.
service. Baga, maldita kayo si
Palita
tindira.
Papalita ko ate, asana. Diba?
Kung ako di ko ganan mo palit, di ba? Mamili
So,
kita.
dapat kunya na managerial, no?
Oh, managerial, yun na siya.
skills. Isulod nga ito na siya sa entrepreneur.
Posible.
Yes.
Another,
Or limited food choices.
Okay,
Wala
so
lang
murag,
ito.
ay di ko ganahan silang food.
Maura po dito siya,
Ano
di
to
ba?
siya? Di lang ko mukaon.
Okay.
So, di ka mahalinan.
So that's an example, learners, okay?
Possible
So,
solutions.
yes.
So, nga imong kuhaon. Dito, mag-research ka. O, sa imong gustong buhaton.
So remember learners ha, ABM strand na siya.
ABM.
Dito na siya sa tanan nga strand.
Lahi po tong sa STEM.
Oh, lahi po to sa TVL, lahi po to sa STEM. So that's an
Specific example
Yes.
sa EBM lang na siya.
Yes,
Kay nag-talk man taog entrepreneurship a while ago.
Yes. So,
diba?
mo nang amo
Previous
gi-relate.
na. Gi-relate na po.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. And now, you are ready to take your first step in your research journey.
Okay, so now learners, this is your first task for this week. So we need to say, you
Na may
have
buhaton.
to
Prepare
prepare
a plan.
in your respective
Respective
strand.
strand. Okay.
So ang example rather is given na daan.
Nasa yung SLM, di ba?
Yes,
Dilabol
naa
siya.
sa SLM, then makita po ninyo.
Sa tong slide po.
Yes, na po, makita po ninyo sa slide ganiha. So inato lang, sa first issue,
isang
identify
issue.
the issue. Nga makita sa mga strand, ha?
sa mga strand.
Remember,
Related.
specific, which is related to your
Yes,
strand.
yes.
And, of course, the description na
Description.
dayan.
Identify descriptions and then i-write nimo ang iyang description pila ka buok.
Yes,
Okay,
of course.
depende na.
Alright, so stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
Gali naman science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta. Dali naman science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta.
Astral Academy Cyber School. Okay, good luck learners in your first task for this week. Okay, please take a look in our second attendance marker for senior high school. Tanawa sa ibabaw. Again, this is Teacher Genevieve.
And this is Teacher Sheila. We are your teacher researchers to help you in your journey to explore the worlds of 3 Rs. Okay? So bye-bye, learners. See you next week.
The Department of Education, Division of Dangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Dangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media at instructional program crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Sa mga aral sa mundo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub,
the Department of Education, Division of Dangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Dangub, presents Ang Tangkub, transforming advancement in the new normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tungkol time.
Mamahal, are you familiar with these multimedia resources?
Yes, I am, Ma'am Pinky. In fact, I'm using them in my English classes.
Wow!
It cannot be denied that our life nowadays is always partnered with technology. We use technology in almost all of our work. At home, we have a television that entertains us after a tiresome day at work. In school, we are taught to use computers when we want to learn new things online. Even in our community, every assembly uses technology for a wider coverage. And who doesn't own a cell phone for easy communication? And the list goes on. All those and more are part of technology and multimedia resources, which are here to make our life easy and comfortable.
However, apart from the economic resources that you need, you also need resources that will help you easily understand the lesson in the class or help you successfully perform the task assigned to you by your teacher. Here comes in technology. Technology, specifically multimedia resources, will help you learn easily without hassles at all.
Hello, grade 7 learners! Substantial knowledge on the use of correct and appropriate multimedia resources is very helpful when you give instructions, make explanations, and narrate events in your English class.
In your previous activity, you were able to mention certain applications in your cell phone and in computers that help you in performing some classroom tasks. Now, it's time for you to have a deep understanding on these different multimedia resources that can help you in giving instructions, making explanations, and narrating events.
This time, let us familiarize the following terminology. What is a multimedia resource? The word multimedia comes from two Latin roots, multi and media. Multi meaning several or many, and media meaning in the middle. This multimedia definition tells us that materials on the internet or in your class presentations involve several forms of communication to connect. That is, to be in the middle of the sender and receiver. Moreover, multimedia is a broad term for combining multiple media formats. Whenever text, audio, still images, animation, video, and interactivity are combined together, the result is multimedia. Slides, for example, are multimedia as they combine text and images and sometimes video and other types. What is multimedia presentation? A multimedia presentation is a presentation file which is not limited to just text in terms of content. For example, it would have interactive audio, sounds, links, images, animated GIFs, and transitions in it.
There are different multimedia resources. Number 1, text materials. Text is still a primary way to transmit information. It is the simplest and oldest resource. Text takes us back to how the internet started as a means of sending written messages back and forth between communicators. This resource can be used in writing instructions, making announcements, giving information, narrating events, and the list goes on. Simply print your presentation on any paper or have it encoded as a Word document. Just make it sure that the output is readable enough for your audience. Text is also used to augment forms of communication, such as a text description of a photograph, subtitles of audio and video, in slides, and many more.
The second one is PowerPoint Slides. It is a presentation program developed by Microsoft. PowerPoint is often used to create business presentations but can also be used for educational or informal purposes. The presentations are comprised of slides which may contain text, images, and other media such as audio clips and movies. This resource is best to use in giving information, instructions, making explanations, and in narrating events.
Number 3, photographs and other still images. Illustrations are perhaps the oldest form of media. Historically, Gutenberg's printing press in the 1400s enabled mass distribution of multimedia works containing both text and images. Small images, such as thumbnails or icons, are often used as visual entry point to larger images or more detailed information. Text and images sometimes combine in a single form as many software programs makes it easy to create text art, a form of lettering that combines a strong visual element as well. Simply take a photograph of your subject and present it as you orally give an information, instruction, explanation, or a narration. It is also possible that you use text as caption of the image.
The fourth one is audio files. Your website or presentation can add sound from a musical background to a spoken explanation by including audio files. Even digital cameras, a quintessentially image-based technology, have been engineered these days to record sound as well. Many sound files are compressed, which reduces the file size without greatly sacrificing sound quality. Simply record information, instruction, explanation, and narration using your smartphone and play it before the class.
The fifth one are video presentations. Video presents moving pictures and typically combines images and sound for a compelling multimedia experience. Of course, videos can include text as well, which often appears as captioning for spoken words or as text in an image, as in the case of slide presentation. Video files are some of the most memory-intensive multimedia applications, but clever streaming method makes their use practical in everyday use. With your camera phone, simply record a video as you orally give information, instructions, explanation, or narration. You can also make a vlog or a short for video and blog and make contents of different subjects.
The sixth and last one are GIFs and other forms of animation. Animated files occupy a middle ground between still images and video. GIFs, which is an abbreviation for graphic image files, are small files that present a single image or rapidly display a sequence of few images to give the appearance of motion. This group of resources is best to use when you explain and or narrate events that are just short. There are certain mobile apps that help you create a GIF or any animation such as GIF Maker, and Editor, GFCam, GroupMe, and many others. They can be downloaded for free into your smartphone. Below is a table of the common file types of the multimedia resources. This time, watch and listen to this video and clearly examine what multimedia resources are combined in order to come up with it. Take note also of its topic and how it is being presented. After watching it, let us answer the questions that follow.
Oh, hey there. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of tired today because I didn't get enough sleep last night. Aw, thanks, Squeaks, but I think I'll be all right. You probably already know that sleep is really important and that we need to get plenty of it. Doctors think that most kids need to get about 10 to 12 hours of sleep every day. But sometimes it's hard to go to bed when you're supposed to, especially if you don't feel tired. That's why it helps to know what's going on while you're snoozing away at night and why sleep is so important. Think about all the things you do during the day. You probably spend a lot of your day playing, or maybe going places like to school or to the store. All those activities and anything else you do take energy. Your body still uses energy when you sleep, but it uses less of it. Since your body uses less energy when you sleep, it has a chance to save some of that energy for later. So you feel good when you wake up the next morning and you're ready to take on another day. Sleep also gives your body a chance to focus energy on things that keep you healthy. For example, your body uses energy to heal and to grow while you sleep. Sleep also gives your body a chance to use energy to fight off the germs that can make you sick. So sleep is really important for your whole body. But there's one special part of your body that really needs sleep. Your brain. Sleep not only gives your body a rest, it gives your brain a rest too. Your brain is super busy during the day. It works really hard to make sense of all the things you see, smell, and hear. It makes sure that all the parts of your body are working together. It helps you make decisions, and it helps you learn new things. And those are just some of your brain's jobs. Your brain doesn't stop working when you sleep, but it does have a chance to slow down for a bit and to kind of figure things out. While you sleep, your brain organizes the things you learned about during the day to help you remember them for later. Your brain also sorts out your feelings while you sleep. Scientists have also found out that your brain needs sleep to help you concentrate, so you can be better at solving problems at home and at school. Wow, there is a lot going on while you sleep, even if you don't remember it when you wake up. There is so much going on, in fact, that your body usually makes you feel pretty terrible when you don't get enough sleep. Too little sleep can make you feel tired, and it can make it harder for you to concentrate and solve problems. And since your brain helps sort out your feelings while you're sleeping, you can also feel cranky or crabby when you don't get enough sleep. So what can we do to make sure we get enough sleep? First, doctors and other sleep experts say you should have a sleep routine. That means we should try and do the same things every night before we go to bed. A sleep routine helps your body realize that it's time to go to sleep. A good routine might include reading a story, having a bath, or maybe listening to some soft music. It should also mean going to bed at about the same time every night and getting up about the same time every morning. That's one of the reasons it's important to have a bedtime. One thing that shouldn't be part of your sleep routine is watching TV or using a tablet or phone. That's because the special light from their screens can send a signal to your body that it's daytime, even when it's really time for bed. So now you know why it's so important to get a good night's sleep. I think I'm gonna go take a nap. Thanks for joining us on SciShow Kids. If you'd like to keep learning and having fun with Squeaks and me, hit the red subscribe button, and we'll see you next time here at the Fort.
Now, what is the video all about? Correct! The video showed an explanation why do we need to sleep and what is the purpose of the video. You've got another point. It is to explain the importance of having a good sleep.
Now, can you identify what are the different multimedia resources which are combined in the video? If you mention texts, images, audio, and animation, you are absolutely right.
Moreover, we can use audio and picture as multimedia resources that could best present the same topic and purpose of the video we have just watched. In the absence of an expensive camera to record, a personal smartphone could be a better replacement.
It is very important to determine the applicability of these multimedia resources because they can be used in a class presentation, specifically but not limited to giving information or instructions, making explanations, and narrating events.
Now that you already know how to use correct and appropriate multimedia resources when orally giving information, instructions, making explanations, and narrating events in personal and factual recounts, kindly get your activity sheet and do the task.
Directions. Using the correct and appropriate multimedia resource, perform any of the following tasks. First, answer the question, why is bayanihan important in this time of pandemic? Number 2, narrate your personal experience of helping someone. And lastly, explain the topic 5 ways to be productive this pandemic. Please be guided by these criteria in performing your tasks. Be extra patient in accomplishing your tasks, but most importantly, please do enjoy answering them.
Just remember that this will enrich you with important knowledge and skills in your academic journey.
Have a great time, learners. This has been Ma'am Mahalia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, still saying, continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangku.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello, Grade 7 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Carpentry Exploratory Course. For today's lesson, we will identify and describe the different carpentry tools and their functions. Identifying the tools and materials used in carpentry job is the basic knowledge that every carpentry student should learn. We know that tools are very important in modifying the materials in order to create a useful project. Knowing the functions of each tool and material will help you understand the concept on how carpenters use these tools and how these materials are used. Thus, this will help you to become a skillful carpenter someday. Carpentry tools. Rule. Rules are either made of metal or wood. The metal rule is made of hardened and spring-tempered high-carbon steel. It is marked off in inches and fractions of an inch. Metal rule. Metal rule has 2 straight edges. Either side can be used to test if wood is straight and flat. Zigzag rule. Wooden rules are 2 to 3 feet long and have joints so they can be folded up to fit in the pocket. Rules are used for measuring distances, testing flat surfaces, and checking straight lines. Pull-push rule or steel tape is used to measure longer distances available from 3 meters to 7.5 meters long. Tri-square. This tool is used for testing if surface squares with another form a square corner. It is also used for marking outlines which must square with the edge of the wood. Marking knife. This knife is a steel blade sharpened to a cutting edge held firmly in place by a wooden handle. It is used for marking off lines usually across the grain of wood to be cut. Marking gauge. This tool is used to mark lines along the grain of wood or to indicate the desired width and thickness of wood. The wood is held at an angle while the gauge stock is pressed and tilted to let the spur trail. The gauge is then moved along the length of the wood so the spur joint will cut a line as it goes along. Divider. While marking knife is used for straight lines, a divider is used for marking out curved lines such as circles and parts of a circle joint. It is also used for marking equal distances along a line. The 2 legs are set to size from a rule. 1 point is placed on the center mark and the divider swung around so that the other joint cut as curve in the wood. Sliding T-bevel. This tool, like the tri-square, can be set at any angle. Its blade is slotted and held in the sock by a screw. If loosened, the blade can be moved about. After it has been set to the required angle, the screw is tightened. The bevel is used for testing slopes of a bevel edge and for marking straight lines that are not at right angles with the edge of the wood. Claw hammer. Claw hammer is the heavier type of hammer with a claw used for driving and pulling out nails. Mallet. This tool is similar to a hammer, but its head and handle are made of hard wood. It is used when hitting wooden-handled tools such as chisel. It is also used when assembling woodwork. Wooden smooth plane. This tool is used for planing a piece of lumber almost to size. It is also used for removing the bulk of waste from a piece of sawn timber. Iron smooth plane. This tool is used for smoothing wood after the jack or trying plane has been used. It is smaller than the jack plane, but its cutting edge is round and sharpened straight like the tri-plane. The smoothing plane should never be used for general planing because its finely set blade is intended only for smoothing work. Tang firmer chisel. This is used for cutting and shaping woods. It has a blade of hardened steel set on a steel shoulder that has a steel tang and is held by a wooden or plastic handle. The handle is fitted with a metal ring called a ferrule. Socket firm chisel. This tool functions similarly as a tang firmer chisel. The upper part of the socket chisel blade is shaped like a hollow cone in which the handle is set. Gouges. These are used for hollowing woods and cutting curved shapes. They are like chisels but have a curved blade. Their curves vary in shape from almost straight to very round. A mallet is used for greater control with gouging. Spoke shaves. These are used for planing curved edges. Grip the tool in both hands and work it away from you along the edge of the wood following the grain. Saws. There are two kinds of saws. The power saws, those run by electricity, and hand saws, those that are manually operated. Examples of hand saw. Crosscut saw is used for cutting across the grain of the wood. The teeth of this type are set alternatively to the right and left so that the cut is wider than the thickness of the saw blade. It cuts both as a knife and a chisel. Rip saw is used for cutting wood along the grain. Its teeth are sharpened at an angle to form points with sharp cutting edges like a chisel. Back saw is a fine-toothed crosscut saw with a heavy metal band across the back to hold the blade firmly in place. Coping saw is used for sawing curves out of thin wood. The narrow blades are so designed to cut curved shapes. Rasp. The teeth of rasp are cut on the principle of cutting wedges. The rasp is used for roughing off surfaces. It is described by length, shape, and cut, which refer to the coarseness and shape of the teeth. Brace. This is used for holding bits when boring and counter-striking in wood. Holes are made in wood with a brace bit. Hand drill. This is used for drilling holes up to 1/4 of an inch deep. The drill bits come in different sizes and are used with boring holes in woods. Screwdriver. The blade end of a screwdriver should fit snugly into the slot of the screw, otherwise it may slip and damage the screw head as well as the surrounding wood. Kinds of screwdriver. Flat screwdriver is used in driving flathead screws. Phillips screwdriver is used in driving Phillips head screws. Bench. It is a working table with bench vise and bench hook installed on it. It is used in cutting and planing a lumber. Bench vise. The woodworker's bench vise holds lumber for easy working. The vise is attached to the bench so that its two top edges are flushed with the top of the bench. The movable jaws may be fully adjusted by turning the handle. Bench hook. This is used to hold small pieces of wood while sawing or chiseling. It is made of a piece of wood usually 8 inches wide and 9 inches long. It has 2 square stoppers screwed on opposite ends. There you have it, learners. Those are the different carpentry tools. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Carpentry Exploratory Course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember that according to Milton Berle, if an opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggub Stars.
Ma'am Pinky, I'm actually bothered by this statement. If he is elected, he would be the first Negro president in the White House.
Yes, there is really bothersome in this sentence. I think you can identify the word that makes you uncomfortable.
I think it's Negro.
Truly, mamahal. The author could have changed it to the word African American. This brings us to the concept of bias, which we will be learning today.
That's great! Hello, grade 8 learners, and welcome to another episode of Ang Tangkub. Every written piece an author writes carries within it a certain opinion that affects his or her discussion of an issue, and also opinions that you, as a reader, must try to recognize and understand.
That's right. Even the most seemingly factual report, such as a journal article, can carry an understated or implied judgment. Such judgments reflects an author's bias or preference for one side of an issue over another.
Now, for us to have a shared understanding of what bias is, let us have this definition. Bias in writing can be defined as a prejudice against something an author is writing about, favoritism for something an author is writing about, an author letting feelings or emotions cloud his or her objectivity with regard to something he or she is writing about. Bias is when a statement reflects a partiality, preference, or prejudice for, against a person, object, or idea. Bias is when a writer or speaker uses a selection of facts, choice of words, and the quality and tone of description to convey a particular feeling or attitude.
Bias actually exists almost everywhere. That sometimes it's very hard to identify the biases made by the author. That is, sometimes it's very hard to examine the biases made by the author, which is your main task later on. However, there are ways how to locate biases.
One way of locating authors' biases is through asking yourself the following questions. What facts has the author omitted? What additional information is necessary? What words create positive or negative impressions? And lastly, what impression would I have if different words had been used?
Moreover, there are important things to consider in order to examine authors' biases.
First, look for loaded words. These are words that are charged with emotion, whether it's positive or negative. They can actually reveal the author's opinion about an issue or a topic. For example, the school committee meeting got off to another slow start, with the committee bickering among themselves, Finally, the board settled down to review the budget for a new gymnasium. While the clock ticked, the committee still could not find common ground. Do you think the example a while ago has loaded words? If yes, were the loaded words charged with positive or negative opinion of the author towards the topic, which was the school organization? Alright, let us discuss the answers to the questions one by one. The answer to the first question is yes. There are really some loaded words in the paragraph. These are slow, bickering, settle down, and could not find the common ground. On the second question, which is, were the loaded words charged with negative or positive opinion of the author towards the subject or topic, which is the school committee? The answer is, they are negatively loaded. For clearly, the author does not like what the school committee or organization is doing. So, how do we correct this bias due to some negatively loaded words? Of course, that is through paraphrasing. Let us try. Your paragraph should look like this. Once again, the school board members tackled the monumental task of sorting out the budget for the new gymnasium. The 10 members wrestled with the budget throughout the evening and adjourned, having made progress but not having finished the budget. Now, do you clearly see the difference? If not, let us flash both paragraphs on your screen for you to contrast them. You should realize that when an author is devoid of biases, there are no words which are emotionally charged. Another thing to do to examine biases is to watch out for stereotypes. If an author labels an entire group, the writing is probably biased. For instance, girls are bad at math, while boys are not creative. Women are more communal or selfless and concerned with others, and less agentic, self-assertive, and motivated to master than men. Women are more likely to hold positions of lower status and authority. Now, in order to correct biases, we should avoid generalizing people based on their age, political affiliation, religion, health and abilities, and sexual orientation.
Another thing to do in order to examine authors' biases is to notice vague language and generalizations. If the author isn't using specific language, this could be an indicator of bias. For example, educators do not consider each child's particular learning style when developing lessons. Clearly, this generalization is not true to all educators. The sentence does not acknowledge the variation within the population of educators, implying that all educators are inconsiderate. So, how do we revisit this? It is better to use an indefinite pronoun in rephrasing the statement. Read the revised statement along with me. Some educators do not consider each child's particular learning style when developing lessons. This sentence is better because it acknowledges that there are some educators who do not fall in this category, that all educators are not the same. The fourth and last thing to do in order to examine biases is to be on the lookout of one-sided argument. If the author only presents one side of an argument, his or her writing is probably biased. For example, more than 80% of dentists recommend brand X. This is a biased and one-sided because what this advertisement conveniently forgot to mention was that during the survey, dentists were able to name more than one brand they recommend. So, it is possible that more than 80% of dentists recommend some other brands as well. Some brand could have been recommended by 100% of dentists. We'll never know.
Alright, those are the ways in examining biases. As a recap, let us read them. To recognize for biases, first, look for loaded words. words that are charged with emotion, whether positive or negative, which can reveal an author's opinion about his or her topic. Second, watch out for stereotypes. If the author labels an entire group, the writing is probably biased. Third, notice vague language or generalizations. If the author isn't using specific language, this could be an indicator of bias. Fourth, or the last one, be on the lookout for one-sided arguments. If the author only presents one side of an argument, his or her writing is probably biased.
Now that you already know how to examine biases, for or against, made by the author, it is now your turn to grab your pen and activity sheet in English and do the task.
Directions. Read the situation below and examine biases for or against, made by the author, by answering specific questions.
Congratulations, because you are almost done for today's lesson. Before we end, remember that bias is a subjective way of thinking that only tells one side of the story, sometimes leading to inaccurate information and false impression.
When you research, it is important that you identify the level of bias in your potential sources. Always remember to be critical with the information you read, either online or offline, dear grade 8 learners. This has been Mama Halia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Goodbye!
Hello graded learners, I am Teacher James and welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. This time, we are now to process your learning in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course. For today's lesson, we will discuss the different hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing. A tool is a handheld device that aids in accomplishing a task. Tools range from a traditional metal cutting part of a machine to an element of a computer program that activates and controls a particular function. To complete hardware repairs, it is important to have a toolkit that should contain all the necessary tools. As you gain experience, you will learn which tools to have available for different types of jobs. Hardware tools are grouped into these 4 categories: electrostatic discharge tools, hand tools, and diagnostic tools. Electrostatic discharge tools, or ESD. Static electricity is easily generated by friction on carpets, tile, flooring, clothing, hair, fabric, and etc. The friction of moving air alone will charge suspended particles and cause the buildup of static electrical charges on people and objects in the environment. Grounded anti-static work mats used with anti-static wrist straps provide the most basic means for the controlled discharge of electrostatic electricity. Examples of ESD tools: anti-static wrist strap, used to prevent ESD damage to computer equipment. Anti-static mat, used to stand on or place hardware on to prevent static electricity from building up. A hand tool is a device for performing work on a material or a physical system using only hands. The hand tools can be manually used employing force or electrically powered using electrical current. Examples of hand tools: flathead screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten slotted screws. Head screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten crosshead screws. Torque screwdriver, used to loosen or tighten screws that have a star-like depression on the top, a feature that is mainly found on laptops. Hex driver, sometimes called a nut driver, is used to tighten nuts in the same way that a screwdriver tightens screws. Needle nose plier, used to hold small parts. Wire cutter, used to strip and cut wires. Tweezers, used to manipulate small parts. Part retriever, used to retrieve parts from locations that are too small for your hand to fit. Flashlight, used to light up areas that you cannot see well. Cleaning tools. Having the appropriate cleaning tools is essential when maintaining or repairing computers. Using these tools ensures that computer components are not damaged during cleaning. Examples of cleaning tools. Lint-free cloth, used to clean different computer components without scratching or leaving debris. Compressed air, used to blow away dust and debris from different computer parts without touching the components. Cable ties, used to bundle cables neatly inside and outside of a computer. Parts organizer, used to hold screw, jumpers, fasteners, and other small parts and prevents them from getting mixed together. Diagnostic tools. Computers are easier to use and more dependable with each new generation of hardware and operating system update, but that doesn't mean they're problem-free. Here's the most popular tools for diagnosing your computer problems. Multimeter, used to test the integrity of circuits and the quality of electricity in computer components. Loopback adapter, used to test the functionality of computer ports. There you have it, learners. Those are the different hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing. This time, let us try to check your learning from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, it is essential to have good tools, but it is also essential that the tools should be used in the right way. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
Mahal. I just noticed something. You look so different today. You look so great.
Really, Ma'am Pinky? Oh, thank you for the compliment. I think it's because of my new lipstick, which makes a difference with how I look.
Oh, I see. Well, since we are all talking about difference, our lesson for today will be dealing about it. It is differentiating ideas between biases and prejudices. But before doing the tasks, let us have these sentences first and identify whether they show bias or prejudice.
First sentence. Female judges give more attention to girls. Second sentence. Someone who is physically disabled is also mentally disabled. Between the two sentences, which one expresses bias? How about prejudice? Surely you have an idea. However, some might still be unsure of their answers. For that, let us first define the two important terminologies. Bias means a tendency to favor one person, group, thing, or point of view over another, often in an unfair way. On the other hand, prejudice is an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. It simply means to prejudge others.
This time, let us go back to the given examples. Which sentence shows bias? That's right! It is the first statement. The subject in the sentence, the judges, favored girl contestants over boys, which sounded so unfair.
Now, the second sentence displays prejudice. What do you think is the reason? Very good. The speaker assumed or made prior judgment that once a person is physically disabled, he is also mentally challenged. This presumption is considered as an unfavorable opinion of the speaker. Let us dig deeper. Bias is an inclination toward or away from one way of thinking, often based on how you were raised. If someone has a bias about women, he can take two different approaches. If he is biased toward women, he might hire only women because he feels they make better employees for some gender-related reason. Conversely, if he is biased against women, he might hire men over more preferred females as candidate.
Meanwhile, prejudice refers to preconceived opinion or feeling toward a person based solely on their affiliation with a group. It often casts an unfavorable light on someone simply because they're a member of some ethnic group, religion, or organization.
Common features of prejudice include negative feelings, stereotype beliefs, and the tendency to discriminate members of a group. In the society, we often see prejudices based on race, culture, sex, religion, and many more. Prejudgments are usually negative about the members of a group.
This time, let us have another examples. Please take a look at the sentences and identify whether they show biases or prejudices. She refused to listen to the opposing side. People on two sides of an issue can listen to the same story and walk away with different interpretations that they feel validate their existing point of view. This is often indicative that the confirmation bias is working to bias their opinions.
The second sentence is, older adults are slow and incompetent. Unlike the first one, this sentence shows prejudice. We cannot possibly know each individual person of advanced age to know that all older adults are slow and incompetent. Therefore, this negative belief is overgeneralized to all members of the group, even though many of the individual group members may in fact be active and intelligent.
Now, can you see the difference between bias and prejudice? We are sure you can. So, it is time for you to get your activity sheet and do the instructions.
Activity number 1, directions. Identify if the statement expresses a bias or prejudice. Activity number 2, directions. Answer the question that follows in 2 to 3 sentences only. How will you differentiate bias from prejudice? This is worth 10 points. Humans are very diverse and share both similarities and differences. The social groups where we belong help in forming our identities.
Thus, this lesson teaches us to accept and respect anyone for who they are, even they are different from us, because the presence of respect in various relationships builds the value of trust, safety, and well-being.
Have a great time, learners. This has been your English teachers, Mama Halia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub.
Goodbye!
Hello grade 9 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9. For today's lesson, we will discuss the different culinary terms related to sponges and cakes. Culinary terms related to sponge and cakes. Angel food cake, a type of cake made of meringue and flour. Appropriate, a term which means suitable or proper under the given circumstances. Assembling, a term which means fitting together the component parts of a certain dish or food. Bake, to cook food in a dry heat method inside an oven. Butter, a semi-liquid mixture of one or more flours combined with liquids such as water, milk, or eggs used to prepare various food. Beating, a term which means introducing air into the mixture through mechanical agitation, as in beating eggs. Blend, a mixing method to combine ingredients and produce a homogeneous mixture. Boiled icing, a sugar and egg white icing for cakes, which is also called Italian meringue. Brown sugar, a regular granulated sucrose containing various impurities that gives distinctive flavor. Buttercream, an icing made of butter and or shortening blended with confectioner's sugar syrup. Other ingredients may be also added. Cake flour, a type of flour which is fine white flour made from soft wheat. Chemical leavener. Chemical leaveners are leavening agents such as baking soda, baking powder, or baking ammonia, which releases gases produced by chemical reactions. Chiffon cake, a light cake made following the chiffon method mixing, a cake mixing method involving the folding. Choux pastry, a light pastry dough for making profiteroles, croquembouche, and eclairs. Cocoa powder, dry powder made from ground cocoa solids. Cocoa butter, white or yellowish fat found in natural chocolate. Commis, a term which means junior chef. Confectioner's sugar, a sucrose ground into fine powder and mixed with a little cornstarch to prevent caking. Consistency, the way in which a certain substance, typically liquid, holds together, such as its thickness or viscosity. Creaming, a mixing method in which butter and sugar are rubbed until light and fluffy. Creaming method, mixing method that begins with the blending of fat and sugar used for cakes, cookies, and similar items. Dark chocolate, sweetened chocolate consists of chocolate liquor and sugar. Dust, to sprinkle the surface with flour to avoid mixture to stick on it. Filling, edible mixture used to fill pastries, sandwiches, and cakes. Foaming, continuously beat egg white to incorporate air until it becomes light and fluffy. Fondant, a type of icing made of boiled sugar syrup that is agitated so that it would crystallize into a mass of extremely small white crystals. Frost, to cover cakes with icing. Ganache, a rich cream made of chocolate and heavy cream. Garnishing, to decorate or embellish something, especially food. Gâteau, a French word for cake, typically one containing layers of cream or fruits. Genoise, sponge cake made by whipping whole eggs with sugar and folding in flour and sometimes melted butter. Glaze, shiny coatings such as syrup applied to food. Granulated sugar, sucrose in a fine crystalline form. Grease, to brush a pan with shortening. Gum paste, a type of sugar paste or pastelage made from vegetable gum. Petit four, a small confectionery or savory appetizer, which means small oven in French. Preheat, to heat the oven prior to baking to achieve the required heat. Scrape, to remove sticky ingredients from the side of the mixing bowl. Sift, to pass the flour through the sieves to make it finer and light. Sponge, a batter or dough of yeast, flour, and water that is allowed to ferment and is then mixed with more flour and other ingredients to make a bread dough. Sponge cake, a type of cake made by whipping eggs and sugar to a foam, then folding in flour. Sweet paste, sweet doughy candy or confection. Torts, German for various type of cakes, usually layered cakes. Turntable, a pedestal with a flat, rotating top used for holding cakes while they are being decorated. Whip, to beat rapidly and continuously to aid incorporation of air, as in whipping egg whites to make meringue and in cream. There you have it, learners. Those are the different culinary terms related to sponges and cakes. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, life is too short to say no to a cake. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggap Stars.
Mamping, please help me. Which book should I choose? A friend of mine is selling her books at 100 pesos each. I only have 100 this time. Should I choose Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom or Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell?
I can sense that you are really confused because both are equally good choices, so any of which will surely be a good choice.
Thanks, Ma'am Pinky, for your thoughts. I am actually quite relieved.
You are welcome, Mamahal. But your question about which book is better is related to our topic today, which allows us to take a stand between two issues, concerns, or ideas. That is, argumentative essay.
Oh, that sounds interesting. What's up, grade 10 learners? You're already in the third quarter for your quest in learning English. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangku. Now, what comes to your mind when you hear the word argument? If you have negative connotations about it, let us change your perspective through this lesson. Arguments are actually healthy. They clear the air, but only when they are delivered in a polite manner. According to ancient poet Rumi, raise your words, not your voice. It is rain that grows the flowers, not thunder.
This is supported by Steve Maraboli, who said, "The volume of your voice does not increase the validity of your argument."
When you're actually writing a persuasive essay, you need more than just opinion to make your voice heard. Even the strongest stance won't be compelling if it's not structured properly and reinforced with solid reasoning and evidence.
That is why today, let us learn what elements should an argumentative essay include and how to structure it. For the end of our discussion, you are expected to compose an argumentative essay.
So, any idea what an argumentative essay is? Let us have this definition. An argumentative essay is a piece of writing that takes a stance on an issue. In a good argumentative essay, a writer attempts to persuade readers to understand and support their point of view about a topic by stating their reasoning and providing evidence to back it up. Argumentative essays should have a straightforward structure so they are easy for readers to follow. The goal of an argumentative essay is to clearly outline a point of view, reasoning, and evidence.
Most argumentative essays follow basic and usual structure of any other essays, such as the following. Introductory paragraph. The first paragraph of your essay should outline the topic, provide background information necessary to understand your argument, outline the evidence you will present, and state your thesis. For example, the 21st century has witnessed a revolution in various fields and sectors. Of the various sectors, technology stands out. Online education, one of the areas where technology has flourished, has gained popularity just as fast as the desire for higher education has over the past couple of decades. Online learning is recognized and opposed in various parts of the world. This paper takes a stand on why online programs need to be supported across the world.
Next to the introductory paragraph is the thesis statement. The thesis statement. This is part of your first paragraph. It is concise, one-sentence summary of your main point and claim. For example, this paper takes a stand on why online programs need to be supported across the world.
Next would be the body paragraph or paragraphs. Body paragraphs. A typical argumentative essay comprises 3 or more paragraphs that explain the reasons why you support your thesis. Each body paragraph should cover a different idea or piece of evidence and contain a topic sentence that clearly and concisely explains why the reader should agree with your position. Body paragraphs are where you back up your claims with examples, researches, statistics, studies, and text citations. Address opposing points of view and disapprove them or explain why you disagree with them. Presenting facts and considering a topic from every angle adds credibility and will help you gain a reader's trust. For instance, online virtual education is a convenient and flexible way of acquiring higher education. Unlike the traditional approach to education, where the learner has to go to a physical campus, online programs can be pursued by anyone who has access to an internet device from any part of the world with no need to physically visit the institution. For instance, for someone who is in the rural areas and cannot relocate or commute on daily basis to the physical location of the university, which is probably located tens or hundreds of miles away, online programs give him the chance to achieve his dream. He can study and take examinations right from the comfort of his living room. This way, one can undertake every activity such as a job while at the same time studying. In modern days, where wireless internet connection is found in the most parts of the world, access to virtual learning is greater than in the past.
Online education further proves to be relatively cheaper in comparison to traditional educational approaches. Under traditional university programs, the students are required to pay for textbooks, transportation, institutional facilities such as physical libraries, gyms, swimming pools, among other costs that push the cost of the university education up. Online education and its part charges only for tuition and other obligatory charges. Virtual learning thus presents both the affluent and the poor a chance.
Another argument raised against virtual programs is that, unlike traditional classroom study, online learning does not encourage close learner interaction. However, as a counter-argument to this, the modern world has embraced the internet and physical contact is not necessary between two parties for a productive engagement to occur. For instance, a car buyer doesn't necessarily have to meet the seller for them to trade.
A further limitation cited in the online learning debate is the mode of communication. In most cases, emails, chats, and online discussion groups are the main available options. The limited interpersonal relationship is cited by opponents as a major limitation of online learning. However, by effectively utilizing the available communication channels, one feels just as lively and engaged as the traditional classroom chats and conversations. The emergence of social media platforms such as WhatsApp and Facebook further gives one a chance to engage with classmates more closely. The freedom that virtual programs offer, such as studying at the specific time convenient to a student, provides a great learning environment and a learner can easily pass examinations. The fourth and last part of the structure is the conclusion. Conclusion. One paragraph that restates your thesis and summarizes all of the arguments made in your body paragraphs. Rather than introducing new facts or more arguments, a good conclusion will appeal to a reader's emotion. In some cases, writers will use a personal anecdote explaining how the topic personally affects them. For example, apparently, access to education has become a fundamental aspect to human life. Online learning is a feasible, cheaper, and convenient way through which individuals in need of higher education can attain their objectives. While a few drawbacks are linked to virtual learning, the quality of education offered is equivalent to that offered in traditional classrooms. That is an effective option for potential students.
And you already have the entire argumentative essay.
Now that you already know the basic structural parts of an argumentative essay, it is now your turn to compose your own argumentative essay. You can do it, our dear learners.
Please grab your pen and your activity sheet in English and do the task. And read and understand the directions.
Directions. Open the link below and watch the video on man's evolution and pollution. After watching, compose an argumentative essay about it. You are graded based on this rubric.
Writing is something that we cannot learn overnight. Knowing how to correctly structure our point of view is the key to a good argumentative essay, and it takes years of practice to be able to become a good, persuasive writer.
This tells us that the key to life in almost all aspects is patience, which is why it is considered a virtue. This has been Mama Haria
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teachers, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub. Bye!
Hello, grade 10 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Housekeeping 10. For today's lesson, we will discuss the two commonly used bed makeups in hotels. Hotel bed presentations are very important to make lasting impressions to guests. There are two bed setups that are commonly used by hotels. The 5-sheet bed makeup, which is commonly used for standard hotel rooms, and the duvet bed makeup, which is usually used in suites and other expensive rooms. 5-sheet bed makeup. Procedures. Pull the bed away from the headboard. Check the bed pad for any stain and damage. Spread the first sheet and miter 45 degrees in all corners of the headboard. Spread the third sheet at the same level of the blanket. Miter the 3 linens all together. Insert the pillow into the pillow slip. The opening side is inserted into the pillowcase, complete with the bed runner. Duvet bed makeup. Procedures. Pull the bed away from the headboard. Check the bed pad for any stain and damage. Spread the first sheet and miter 90 degrees all corners. Spread the duvet jacket on the bed. Spread the duvet filler on top and apply the technique, such as the burrito technique. Fold the upper part and insert the lower part, then miter 90 degrees, allowing the side to hang. Insert the pillow into the pillow slip. The opening side is inserted into the pillowcase, complete with the bed runner. There you have it, learners. Those are the step-by-step procedures in a 5-sheet and duvet bed makeups. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Housekeeping 10 and answer the given questions. Before we end, Always remember, the customer's perception is your reality. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggub Stars.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tangkub na.
Hello, hello to our junior high school learners and welcome to another episode here in
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Again, I am your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo of Subirap National High School.
And I am Teacher James Mark Pisaporno, still from Sumirap National High School.
And
we
are
are
your teacher facilitators
for
today.
Today is February 10, 2022, Thursday, and we will be discussing topics in English and TLE subjects.
That's right, Sir James, and we will discuss more of those when we return. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. Today we will be starting to discuss our subject in TLE, particularly TLE 7.
Yes, and for quarter 3, we will be talking about carpentry, and our learning competency
that is to identify and describe carpentry tools and their functions.
Alright, so of course, identifying the tools and materials used in carpentry job is the basic knowledge that every carpentry student should learn. We know that tools are very important in modifying the materials in order to create something useful or a project that is something useful. And of course, knowing the functions of each tool and material will help you understand the concept on how carpenters use these tools and how these materials are also used. This will help you to become a skillful carpenter someday.
That's right. And this topic is not limited only sa mga lalaki, ha?
Yes.
We girls, we should also learn the basic of carpentry.
Yes. So here are the different carpentry tools, starting off with rules. What are rules?
Okay, rules. What are these? These are either made of metal or wood. The metal rule is made of hardened and spring-tempered high-carbon steel. It is marked off in inches and fractions of an inch.
All right. So if you can see as you can see in your SLM, when we say rule, that is the other term for rulers.
Okay.
So, di ba kita Ma'am Pinky no sa ato ang kasagaran or sa
Sa
ato
art,
ang dapit ruler ang atong tawagan.
That's
But
right.
it is also called as the rule. So rules are pwede na ay metal,
Or
na
wood.
wooden rules, or even plastic rules.
Yes.
Nga mo pinaka-common karon and of course the cheapest. So it is used of course kay naman siya mga markers, magamit siya in measuring fractions of an inch.
That's right. And of course,
So here are your different types of rules used in carpentry. First, we have the metal rule. So when we say metal rule, it has two straight edges. Either side can be used to test if wood is straight and flat. So usually the other side is used to measure using inches, and the other one is using the centimeter unit.
Of course, we have also the zigzag rule. These are wooded rules having 2 or 3 feet long and have joints so they can be folded up
Yes.
to fit in the pocket. Rules are used for measuring distances, testing flat surfaces, and checking straights.
So as you can see in your SLM,
Yes.
ang naong sa zigzag rule, mo siya ga-zigzag, pero pwede nimo siya mapataas.
Yes,
Ang
next
iyan
time.
lang primary concern nga gi-zigzag siya kay para pwede siya ma-insert sa pocket sa
Yes.
carpenter or sa inyong pocket
So, na
while
siya joints.
working
Murag
in the
kaning
workshop.
siko na to,
Yes.
Sir James. Na siya joints.
And of course, still, it is used to check or to test the flat surfaces, and of course to check if the surface is straight.
That's right. And we also have the pull-push rule or steel tape. It is used to measure long distances available from 3 meters to 7.5 meters long. Murag
Yes.
nakakita na ko ani
So,
Sir
mo po ni
James.
siya kasagaran din natong makita. Kamo ni
Oo.
siya pinaka-common sa atong mga carpenters around our locality.
I remember playing this when I was a little kid.
Yes, katong murag yoyo nga
Oo.
forma sa
Sa
rule.
That's
So, ang
right.
tawagan na is pull-push rule or the steel tape. So,
Okay.
magamit ni siya in measuring long distances of surfaces nga gusto ninyong i-measure while working on a carpentry project.
Okay, and the second carpentry tool is the tri-square. This tool is used for testing if surface squares with another form a square corner.
Yes.
It is used for marking outlines which must square with the edge of the wood.
Alright, so tri-square. So, as you can see in the picture in your SLM, mura siya og naka-angle og forma. Kay kana siya para man ma-measure or ma-check nimo if sakto ba ang edges niya nga square bagid siya. Kay as you can see, most of the carpentry projects have square
That's right.
edges. Say for example, a table
Yes.
or even a
Chair,
chair.
this
Lagi na
one.
siya mga square edges. So, ang gamiton ana para ma-check if sakto ang pagka-square niya.
Perfect ang square
Yes,
or ang
is
corner.
the tri-square.
Okay, and we also have, Sir James, the marking knife. This knife has a steel blade sharpened to a cutting edge, held firmly in place by a wooden handle. It is used for marking off lines, usually across the grain of wood to be cut.
Alright, so this type of marking knife, or this marking knife is a type of knife, pero gamay lang siya og blade. Nganong man, kay gamiton naman siya to mark the part of the wood nga asa nimo siya ikat.
Okay.
So, dili gid siya putlo nimo ang wood gamit ani nga knife, imo lang magbuhat lang kag marka.
Tama.
Alright. Next.
Speaking of marking gauge is our next carpentry tool. This tool is used to mark gihapon, lines along the grain of wood or to indicate the desired width and thickness of wood. The wood is held at an angle while the gauge stock is pressed and tilted to let the spur trail. The gauge is then moved along the length of the wood so the spur joint will cut a line as it goes along.
Alright, so again, kani si marking gauge, marking tool gyapon siya, pero kasagarang ginamark niya kay katong ug unsa ka thick
ang width
Okay.
or ang thickness sa wood nga gusto ninyong i-cut.
That's right.
Alright, next.
The divider is the fifth one. While a marking knife is used for straight lines, a divider is used for marking out curved lines, such as circle and parts of a circle joint. It is also used for marking equal distances along a line. The two legs are set to size from a rule. One point is placed on the center mark, and the divider swung around so that the other point cut sa curve in the wood.
Alright, so if familiar mo sa inyong mga math apparatus, mathematics apparatus, mura ni siya og porma sa compass.
That's right.
Pero ang nakalahi lang ani niya sa compass, the other edge of the compass, mabutang ka og lapis. Wherein, kani si divider, puros ni sila talinis.
Knife blade.
Yes, talinis tanan kay para ma-mark niya ang iyang agi sa
That's
kahoy.
right. Ang kahoy kay dali ra man gud siya butang mark, Sir James. No?
As long as sharp ang object
Oo.
na makakuha niya.
Okay, and of course the sixth one is the sliding T by bevel.
Bevel.
This tool, like the tri-square, can be set at any angle. Its blade is slotted and held in the sock by a screw. If loosened, the blade can be moved about. After it has been set to the required angle, the screw is tightened. The bevel is used for testing slopes of a bevel edge and for making straight lines that are not at right angles with the edge of the wood.
Alright, so kani po si sliding T-bevel, same ra siya purpose ni tri-square kaganiha. But then again, kaganiha si tri-square perfect square nga edge ang i-measure. Wherein, kani si sliding T-bevel, ang iyang i-measure kay indefinite size ang iyahang edge or even a slope. Maka-measure siya og slope.
Yeah, because there are carpentry design nga dili gid siya perfect square, Sir
Yes.
James, no?
Okay.
Na mga art. And of course, the claw hammer is the heavier type of hammer with a claw used for diving or driving and pulling out nails.
Okay, claw hammer mo na siya pinaka-common nga tawag sa ato ang martilyo in
That's
English.
right.
The claw hammer.
Is this mallet?
Mallet.
Mallet. This tool is similar. This is the 8-1 learners to a hammer, but its head and handle are made of hardwood. It is used when hitting wooden handled tools such as chisel. It is also used when assembling woodwork.
Okay, kani si mallet class, mura na ni siya og
Mura ni dala ni
hammer,
Thor.
tanaw na to. Pareha sa forma sa gidala ni Thor.
Yes.
Exactly, ma'am. Pinky, wala siya kanang claw sa
Yes.
taas or sa pika side niya nga pwede mo tangtang og nails because this is usually used in using your chisel. Kung sa man tong chisel katong para
Okay.
okay, later we'll be talking about chisel.
Sa carving. Yes. The wooden smooth plane is the 9th one. This tool is used for planing a piece of lumber almost to size. It is also used for removing the bulk of waste from a piece of sawn timber.
Okay, so wooden smooth plane, kay mo na siya ang atong
planer.
gitawag nga planer,
Yeah.
pero mano-mano nga planer. Kay naman tay electric planer na karon.
That's right.
Alright, next.
Atong mga papa sa una mo niya ginagamit.
Pero karon pud ma'am, gamiton man gyapon siya pero
Oo.
kato na lang sa mga ginagmay.
Oo.
If dagko kayo nga ipang planer or mas ganahan jud kag mas smooth, of course, mas mo prefer na gyud kadto sa
Mas faster po
electrically
ang work.
operated. Yes.
And the iron smooth plane is the 10th one. This tool is used for smoothing wood after the jack or trying plane has been used. It is smaller than the jack plane, but its cutting edge is round and sharp and straight like the tri-plane. The smoothing plane should never be used for general planing because its finely set blade is intended only for smoothing work.
Alright, so kani si iron smooth plane, say for example, nagamit ka kaganiya og wooden smooth plane,
Yes?
dayon kulangan pa ang pagkasinaw or
Pagkasinaw,
smooth niya. So ang imong gamito na dayon is the iron smooth plane. Kay siya maoy mas magpa-smooth
So mawala
sa
na gito mga
surface.
gansang-gansa.
Yes, exactly. So kani pud si iron smooth plane kay gamayon man ni siya din gagmay pud iyang blade. Intended ra pud ni siya kung na unsay tawag na initial nga planing na hitabo sa wood.
That's
Dili
right.
siya pwede sa rough
Primary.
wood. Yes.
So, finishing
Ganito lang
touches.
Siya, yes, finishing na lang ni siya.
That's
Igo ra ni siya, smoothen na lang dayon.
Okay, and the 11th one is the tang firmer chisel. This is used for cutting and shaping woods. It has a blade of hardened steel set on steel shoulder that has a steel tang and is held by a wooden or plastic handle. The handle is fitted with a metal ring called a ferrule.
Alright, so si tang firmer chisel, kaganyan naghisgot na tag chisel, katong naghisgot ta ni mallet. So kani si chisel, mo na siya gamiton sa usa ka carpenter sa pag-carve. So, of course, kung mag-carve ka, gamit ni chisel, kinahanglan kag force. So, ang imo na dahil gamiton para mag-exact og force, instead of using your hands, kay mapudpod imong hands, mo gamit na kani mallet.
Okay.
Mag-partner si mallet og si chisel. Now, kani si tang firmer chisel, gamayon ni siya kung makita ninyo sa inyong SLM, gamit ani niya kay kung ginagmay lang pod ang imuhang i-carve.
Okay, so what is unsay kalahian ani sa socket form chisel po, Sir James?
So when we say socket firm chisel, this tool functions similarly as a tang firmer chisel, but the upper part of the socket chisel blade is shaped like a hollow cone in which the handle is set.
Yes.
So, pa-curve ni siya og tumoy.
Ang blade niya.
Yes, ang blade niya wherein si tang firmer chisel flat.
Straight. So, okay. Gets you, learners? We hope so. So, then, 13th one is the Gojas. These are used for hollowing woods and cutting carved shapes. These are also chisel, Sir James, but has or have a curved blade. Their curve vary in shape from almost straight to a very round. A mallet is used for greater control when gouging.
Alright, kani si Gojas class, mura ni siya og dako nga socket firm chisel.
Okay.
Pero kanilang si Gojas, ang nakain niya kay curved man ang iyahang blade or tip niya, mas dako siya, napoy uban nga almost circle na gid siya. Like curve lang, half curve, napoy almost circle na.
Yes.
So you can use this one in cutting curved shapes in your project.
Okay, so second to the last one is the spoke shaves. These are used for planning curved edges. Grip the tool in both hands and work it away from you along the edge of the wood following the grain.
So kani siya, mo ni siya gamiton kung planer mo.
Yes.
Kay para mo hold mo ni siya tig-hold sa kahoy na inyong giplane sa piece of wood para lisod man god kung inyo siyang ikuan na maglihok siya.
Mudagan po siya gapit.
Mag-extract biya kag force.
That's right.
So dapat na ay mo hold sa wood.
And the last is the saws. Saws. These are two kinds of saws, the power saw and of course the hand saw.
So again, when we say saw, sa atong binisaya nga pagka-istorya mo ni ang mga gabas.
Gabas.
So kung powered saw gani mo ni siya katong mga chainsaw.
Okay.
But when we say manually operated saws, these are the hand saws katong normal
Nasa
lang
pambalay.
mga gabas. Exactly.
Okay.
First, here are the examples of saws. First, we have the cross-cut saw, which is used for cutting across the grain of the wood, and the teeth of this type are set alternatively to the right and left so that the cut is wider than the thickness of the saw blade. It cuts both as a knife and of course as a chisel. So cross-cut saw is the most common hand saw. So mo ni siya kanang atong normal nga gabas. Kung nakabantay mo iyang blade, na ay ang first nga blade pa right, ang next na pod niya pa left.
Okay, that is why cross-cut.
Yes, that is why it is called as cross-cut saw.
Okay, the second one is the reap saw. The reap saw is used for cutting wood along the grain. Its teeth are sharpened at an angle to form points with sharp cutting edges like a chisel.
Okay, so kani siya one direction lang. Kung kaganiha, right, left, karon, one direction lang. And then you also have the back saw, which is a fine-tooth cross-cut saw with a heavy metal band across the back to hold the blade firmly in place. So, kaya si back saw, pares na siya sa cross-cut saw, but then again, ang iyahang blade finer. So, kung gusto ka og gagmay og agi ang imong pagkakat, then you will be using the back saw. Kung gusto ka dagko, then you will be using the cross-cut saw. And then, we also have the coping saw.
Okay, it is used for sewing Sawing curves out of thin wood. The narrow blades are so designed to cut curve our shapes rather.
Yes. Kani si coping saw mo ni siya kasagarang especially no if na magbuhat kag mga design using your plywood.
Yeah.
Na mga curve
Okay.
nga kay kung katong dagko kay nga mga
Maglisod,
gabas
tagliko.
lisod kayo iliko.
That's right.
So you will be using this coping saw para mas dali ang imong pagkat.
Actually, there are more than 15, Sir James.
Yes.
So we also have, can we just let our learners review their SLM for the remaining
Yes.
carpentry tools? We also have the
rasp,
rasp,
the brace, the hand drill,
the
screwdriver,
screwdriver. With two kinds.
the flat screwdriver, and of course the Phillips screw.
Okay, of course, the bench
And then we also have the bench vise.
and the bench hook. You have your
Alright.
SLM with your learners.
Yes, I know
and
for
there
sure.
are pictures attached or with their corresponding names.
Now we will move to your activity. This afternoon you have activity 1, directions. Identify what carpentry tools are shown below. Write your answer on the space provided.
Very easy. There are pictures. You have to identify its name lang, no? Okay, and more discussions when we return. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Yes, and now let's proceed with our grade 7 learners for our TLE 8 subject.
Yes, for quarter 3, our
Learning competency is actually
know the subject first. We will be focusing in TLE 8 for computer hardware servicing exploratory course because it's already third
So
quarter.
it's a different
subject already.
subject course.
Field.
Yes, and your learning competency is actually to identify hardware tools used in computer hardware servicing.
Okay.
All right. So to complete hardware repairs, it is important to have a toolkit that should contain all of the necessary tools. As you gain experience, you will learn which tools to have available for different types of jobs. And of course, the hardware tools are grouped into 4 categories. Ma'am Pinky?
Of course, the 4 categories are the electrostatic discharge or the ESD tools. The hand tools is the second one. Cleaning tools is the third one. And the last one is the diagnostic tools.
All right. So first, we have the electrostatic discharge or ESD tools. So these are static electricity. In these tools, we will be talking about static electricity, which is easily generated by friction on carpets, tiles, floorings, clothing, hair, fabric, and many more. So the friction of moving air alone will charge suspended particles and cause the build-up of static electrical charges on people and objects in the environment. So these are grounded anti-static work mats used with anti-static wrist straps, provide the most basic means for the controlled discharge of electrostatic electricity. So examples of your ESD tools are the anti-static wrist strap and of course the anti-static mat, which can be found in your SLM. Next.
Alright, the next one is the hand tool. So if we talk about a hand tool, it is a device for performing work on a material or a physical system using only our hands. The hand tools can be manually used employing force or electrically powered using electrical current. So examples of hand tools, what we have here are the screwdrivers. There are different types, right?
Yes, the flathead and the Phillips head
screwdriver.
We also have the hex, the torques, tweezers, and the like. So, katong magamit lang tagkamot. So, these are called the hand tools. So, those are the different examples are printed in their SLM.
So, you will be guided learners.
I was actually a bit confused before why the flashlight is part of the hand tools when we discussed about this. But then I realized that if the parts are very small, they could no longer be seen right away.
And there are also parts of computers that are very hard to reach. That is why kinahanglan pa kamo gamit og flashlight para makita nimo gaon sa tungdag to sa tumoy.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's part of the hand.
Yes.
Of course, we also have the cleaning tools. The third one, I think. Having the appropriate cleaning tools is essential when maintaining or repairing computers. Using these tools ensures that computer components are not damaged cleaning or during cleaning.
Yes, exactly. Ma'am Pinky, no, kay kasagaran ra ba mo gamit ra ba tao panglimpyo ka ng damp cloth?
Yeah, which is not good. Not proper.
Exactly, not proper. Especially in cleaning your computers because it might damage the computer itself. So examples of cleaning tools we have lint-free cloth, compressed air. Kani sa compressed air kay gamit lang ni siya kay para
it's like a spray.
Yes, magpagawa siya og pressured air para throw away ang mga dust
particles.
And then we also have the cable ties and part organizer. So those are examples of your cleaning tools. We also have the last one, the diagnostic tools. So diagnostic tools, as the name implies, diagnostic. So computers are easier to use and more dependable with each new generation of hardware and operating system update. But that doesn't mean they're problem-free. So kani si diagnostic tools maoy gamito nato aron ma-diagnose nato ahead kung unsay malfunctions nga nahitabo sa computer.
And of course, to make us also safe from whatever kana bitang makurintihan ta or background. So we have also the diagnostic
So
tools.
one diagnostic tool is the multimeter.
And many more which are printed in your
SLM. And their activity, Mama Halia, is?
Directions is to label the hardware tools on each of the item on their SLM. Write your answer on the space provided.
Wow,
So
very easy
Very
learners.
specific
Naapagin na
pictures,
siya sa ilahang SLM.
just need to write them.
Okay, and we'll proceed with
Our grade 9 learners. So
Hello.
this is for the bread and
pastry
production
production.
9.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Our learning competency is
to prepare sponge and cake. So
Wow.
identify culinary terms related to sponge and cake.
all right. So actually, in the whole third quarter, in this subject, we will be talking and baking cakes and sponges. But of course, before we proceed to baking itself, we need to familiarize first the different terms that we will be encountering all throughout the quarter.
Yes.
So here are the culinary terms related to sponge and cakes. First,
Okay, we have the angel food cake.
Oh.
This is a type of cake made of meringue and flour. Is it meringue?
meringue, yes, exactly. So angel food cake is a type of chiffon cake that does not use the egg yolk. So
Yes.
that's why it's called angel because
That's
white
why
ang
sometimes
iyahang
they're
color.
separated.
Di ba kabantay mo sa kuan? Ang chiffon kay medyo orange. Pero
Yes.
kung
Yes.
chiffon gani siyang white,
that is
wala gisagol ang iyang egg
Egg
yolk,
yolk.
then it's called the angel food cake.
okay.
Next,
We have the appropriate. This is suitable or proper under the given circumstances. Term ni
ano
siya.
ka magisgot tag
Basin-
appropriate?
Sir James, basin makaingon sila cake gihapon.
Oh.
Terms, we are talking about
Oh, we're
culinary terms.
Yes, exactly. So appropriate, especially when it comes to appropriate pan size,
Yes.
appropriate food packaging for
proper.
a cake.
The synonym
mga
is
ingon
proper.
ana. Yes, exactly. Next, we have assembling.
Okay, it means fitting together the component parts of a certain dish or food.
Unsa mo mag-assemble po dito ani mom no?
Yes.
Especially the layered cakes which are very common nowadays. Dili na lang yun mo kung mupalit mo mga cakes karon, especially the expensive one, dili ra na siya usa ka layer, especially if imo na siyang ikat kabantay mo ang mga expensive cakes karon
yes.
layered by layer
With different flavors.
ang example ana i-assemble man na nimo siya, dili man na siya layered na diretso pagka-bake.
Yes.
Mag-bake ka pila ka pieces and then imo na siyang i-layered, i-assemble.
That's right.
Next we have
The
bake.
bake is to cook food in a dry heat method inside an oven.
All right. So dry heat method inside an oven, that's called baking.
Yes.
So actually there are also other ways in baking. You can also use your rice cooker. Kay indirect heat mangyapon siya
yes, it's
and
indirect.
the pugon. Kailan yung pugon, ma'am?
Familiar with it.
Ay, nakapas ko pugon.
Yes, kung mangutan mo sa yung magpapa mas familiar na slag pugon kaysa
Nakapas
sa
ko pugon.
kuan,
Yes.
oven. Next we have butter.
This is semi-liquid mixture of one of more flours combined with liquids such as water, milk, or eggs used to prepare various foods.
All right. So actually in baking there are two types of mixture. When we say butter, mapoured or mayabo. When we say dough, which is the second one, mo na siya masahon. So si butter, mo mixture sa mga cakes and the likes, and then si dough nga masahon, mo
bread.
mixture sa mga bread.
Wow,
Exactly.
I got one
Next.
point. And of course, beating from the word beat, introducing air into the mixture through mechanical agitation, as in
Beating eggs or magbatil sa Bisaya pa. Next, we have blend. So when we say blend, to combine ingredients and produce a homogeneous mixture. So katong imong gimix ng mga
all the
ingredients,
ingredients.
dili na nimo sila ma-identify og asa sila kay gi-blend man nimo
Yes.
sila. Next,
And you also have the word
boiled ice.
boiled icing. Yeah, so this is sugar and egg white icing for cakes, which is also called Italian meringue.
okay, so si boiled icing mo na siya pinaka-common nga icing atong gigamit, which is also the cheapest.
Okay.
Next, we have the brown sugar. Of
sugar.
course, you know what is a brown
Familiar.
sugar. But then again, in baking ha, when we say brown sugar, we're not talking about kung sa kinang central and
Central.
asukar. Diba?
Yes.
Central brown.
Yes.
Then si asukar white.
White.
So those two types of sugar actually belongs to one category only, which is the refined sugar.
Refined
So when we
sugar.
say brown sugar
The
here,
Muscovado, right?
yes, the wetty sugar or the much more
The
compact.
one we use for our biko.
Yes.
Mao na siya tinuod
And
na
lapik.
brown sugar.
Okay, yeah,
All
the
right.
delicious lapik.
Next, we have buttercream icing. Buttercream icing is made of course, butter and other shortening blended with confectioner sugar or syrup. So when we say confectioner sugar, mo na siya tong type of sugar nga powdered form or mura na siya harina.
Okay. And of course, kung may yung tag cake flour, our learners are also familiar with this. These are soft flour made from soft wheat.
Cake flour pang cake. So, chemical leaveners ang tong next nga term. Chemical leaveners, when we say leavener, pampa?
Tubo.
Exactly. Very.
Muna nakakaantagdaghan na mamahal.
Yes. But then again, kay chemical, kuha niya siya, naman ko tayo biological leavener and then chemical leavener. So, examples of chemical leaveners, we have our baking powder and baking soda. And then when we say biological leaveners, we have our yeast.
Yes.
Di ba yeast is a microorganism. It is a biological leavener. And then we also have the chiffon cake. Of course, at wala na nang discuss kaganyan sa chiffon cake and kalahian niya sa angel food cake. Next, we also have choux pastry or the pâté choux. So, kani siya, it is actually a French
Yeah, it's a French term.
French pastry nga murag pan lang.
Okay.
Or eclairs.
And I think there are lots of terminologies, Sir James, but our learners are already guided because these are found on their SLM. Am I right?
Exactly.
What are
Yes.
the,
So you have to review these terminologies, learners, because these are very important. So
okay,
that
so
the
they just need to look for the specific term, right?
Okay.
I think that's what they're to do with their
SLM. The
So
direction
your-
is?
Yes, it is to identify what culinary term is referred by each statement below. So write your answer on the space provided.
very
Alright.
easy,
How
learners.
many items? There are
There
10
are only
for test
10. Very
1.
easy.
Okay.
Good luck.
Are there still test 2? No more?
No
None.
Okay. More discussions when we return.
This
This is
is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
Gali na mag-science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta. Dali na mag-science na kita, mag-observe o mag-discover ta, living things o non-living things, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta, mga stars o mga planeta.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
All right, now we will move to TLE 10 and our focus subject in TLE 10 is housekeeping and your learning competency is?
Make up bed.
All right,
Hello, our
make up
grade 10
beds, of
learners.
course.
Hello, hello.
To our grade 10 learners, some make up beds. That does not mean mag-make up.
Okay, mag-make
But
up sa bed.
to set up the bed. So hotel
Yes.
bed presentations are very important to make lasting impressions to guests. Now, there are
Yes.
two commonly used bed setups used by many hotels. The 5-sheet bed makeup, which is usually used in the standard hotel rooms, and the duvet bed makeup, which are usually used in suite rooms and other expensive rooms. So, here are the procedures in 5-sheet makeup. First, pull the bed away from the headboard para maka-turn around. Si housekeeper next.
Alright, next is to check the bed. Okay, bed
Pad.
pad.
For any
stain
stain.
and damage.
So, kung na-stain ang damage, ilisdan siya, pero og wala, wala. Kanaday si bedpad mamo ang mo ni siya laing terms sa mattress protector. The mattress is the foam magud ang kasagaran natong tawag ana, but in the industry we call it the bed mattress. So sa bed mattress dili man na siya labhan or i-deep clean. So that's why we have the bed pad. And then spread the first sheet and miter 45 degrees in all corners. And then spread the second sheet, which is wrong side up or pabali. And then spread the woolen blanket or the baga niyang bed sheet. And then spread the third sheet at the same level of the blanket and then miter all the 3 linens all together.
There are many levels.
So unsa may buot pasabutan ng miter actually? Ang miter pagpiko lang na siya, alright? So insert the pillow into the pillow slit, then the opening side is inserted into the pillowcase and then complete the bed runner. So mo na din na siya inyong nabuhat kanang nasa inyong picture. And then the second one is the duvet bed makeup. So kaganyan nagamit ang 5 sheets. Motoy pang standard rooms. Kani si duvet mas social. Yes.
So first is to pull the bed away from the headboard. The same. Number 2 is to check the bed pad still for any stain and damage.
Then spread the first sheet and miter 90 degrees in all corners. So ang nakalagay niya 90 degrees ang pag-miter sa first sheet, kaganiha sa 5 sheets we have 45 degrees. And then
spread.
Mo na day nakalahi kay kung kaganiha pila ka sheets atong gigamit tulo.
Yes.
And then here we will be using just 1 sheet and then the duvet na dayon. So unsa man na si duvet? Mo na siya kasagaran natong tawag sa comforter kanang habol nga murag na foam or baga kaayo si duvet. So si duvet na siya duvet jacket or iyahang case, imo na siyang isulod. And then, imo na dayong i-plaster sa bed.
Right.
Fold the upper part and insert the lower part, then miter again 90 degrees, allowing the side to hang. And then, insert the pillow, and then the opening side should be inserted into the pillowcase and complete with a bed runner. And there you have it.
It will look like a pocket.
Yes, exactly.
Of
Alright,
course.
so the directions in your SLM, that is, the first one is to list the step-by-step procedure of the following bed makeup. So the first one, of course, is the 5-sheet bed makeup, and the second one is the duvet bed
And
makeup.
for that is for 10 points each.
So
Do
that
not
will
forget.
give them 20 points.
And
Alright.
We are done with TLE lessons.
Here we
Now,
come, English
yes.
time learners. So,
For English 7, our learning competency is actually to use correct and appropriate multimedia resources when orally giving information, instructions, making explanations, and narrating events in personal or factual recounts.
okay, because when you say orally, there are many activities that involves our oral activity, like the one that Mamahalia said, giving information, narrating events, telling a story. That is doing an oral
Alright, so let
activity.
us learn first some important terms like multimedia, Sir James.
Yes, when we say multimedia, it comes from 2 Latin roots, multi and media. So when we say multi, meaning several or many, and then media, meaning in the middle.
Okay, so this multimedia definition tells us that materials on the internet or on your presentations involve several forms of communication to connect, that is, to be in the middle of the sender and the receiver.
Yes.
So, moreover, multimedia is a broad term for combining multiple media formats. So whenever text, audio, still images, and animation, video, and interactivity are combined together, the result is
Multimedia.
So what are examples of multimedia?
Okay, for examples are video and other types, text and images. So in our next slide, we can see their examples of different multimedia resources. The first one is the text materials, which is the most common and the oldest type of multimedia resources. The second one on our previous slide is the PowerPoint slide. Of course, sa Microsoft, gihapon ni sila mamahalya.
Yes, okay.
And this is one way of presenting your idea through a slide.
Which is very common to our
Yes,
learners, especially
and
in reporting.
What we are using now actually is a PowerPoint presentation. It's an example of slide learners.
Yes.
Okay, alright. So we also have photographs and other still images. Of course, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000
That's
words.
right.
Yes.
Okay, and
Audio
files are
files.
also
Yes.
example of multimedia.
Of course, ang nindot
Video
aning video
presentations.
presentations.
And of course, the GIFs and other forms of animation
Actually,
stickers.
magliok-liok kung niya in our monitor.
Yes, it cannot
Kuan siya.
see.
Wala siya
Yes.
battery.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So their activity is actually to using correct and appropriate multimedia resource, perform any of the following tasks. So there are tasks.
Yes.
The
Learners,
first one
remember
is
any of the following,
any.
Mamahalya. You just
Yes.
choose one.
Choose one.
Okay.
All right.
It could be, you answer the question, why is bayanihan important in this time of pandemic? Or, narrate your personal experience of helping someone. Or, explain the topic 5 ways to be productive this pandemic using the different multimedia resources. You can use the text learners, the PowerPoint, the video, audio, or
Still images.
yes. And we have also the rubric for
So
them
you
to
will
be
be
guided.
graded according to the following criteria. The first one is achievement of task and purpose. The second one is appropriateness of the multimedia resource, applicability of the multimedia resource to the user, and of course, effectiveness of the multimedia resources. And lastly, accessibility or availability of the
Okay.
multimedia resource.
So for clarification, learners, you don't need to fill in this rubric. Ang uban man
The
good,
teacher
Sir
will be
James
using that
and-
one.
Yes,
Yes.
Mamahalya, ilang sulatan ng score earned. No, this will serve as your guide if you want to gain a perfect score, which is 3, the highest score. You have to follow
They're also
this.
very confident that they got perfect scores.
Yes, that's a good
Alright.
attitude.
Alright, so
anyway.
stay tuned because we will be right back after a short break. This
This is
is Astral
Astral
Academy
Academy
Cyber
Cyber
School.
This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to speak and write of the language of the world. Learn to understand the language of the world. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we write. This is the English way.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Yes, and this time we will discuss our grade 8 English subject.
Yes,
hello,
but before
grade 8
that,
learners.
there is actually an attendance
Yes.
marker on top of their screen, so they might as well copy that one. Alright, so for our grade 8 learners, what is our competency, Sir James?
Okay, our competency today is to examine biases for or against made by the author.
Wow, examine.
Examine. So, why is it, before we delve deeper into this competency, let us understand first, why is this important? So, why is it important to examine a bias?
That's right.
So it is important to understand bias when you are researching because it helps you see the purpose of the text, whether it's a piece of writing, a painting, or a photograph or anything. So maybe some biases are meant to entertain, some biases are meant for different purposes. So if you are able to identify the bias in every source you use, for you to know how reliable or accurate the information is, because sometimes authors' biases would discredit or demerit some of their information, some of the information they provide.
That's right. And you need to be able to identify bias in every source you use for you to know how reliable and accurate the information is.
Okay, all right. So bias in writing can be defined in any of the following. The first one is that it is a prejudice against something an author is writing about. Second, Ma'am Pink,
Is a
is
favoritism for something an author is writing about.
Another one is an author letting feelings or emotions cloud his or her objectivity with regard to something he or she is writing about.
Okay, and lastly, bias is when a statement reflects a partially preference or prejudice for against a person, object, or idea.
Okay, maybe you are
There are a lot of biases right
Yeah.
now, political biases, especially that the
That's
election is
right.
nearing.
Yes.
Okay, all right. There are still other definitions of bias. So bias is also happening or occurring when a writer or speaker uses selection of facts, choice of words, and quality of tone of description to convey a particular feeling or attitude.
Yes, and of course, Sir James.
Bias also actually exists almost everywhere, that it's sometimes hard to identify or examine the biases made by the author, which is your main task later
Good
on.
luck.
However, there are actually ways to locate biases.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And this
so
lesson.
one way of locating authors' biases is through asking yourself the following questions. Of course, first is that what facts
Has the
right?
author omitted?
Yes, exactly. And what additional information is necessary. And you also have what words create positive or negative impressions. And lastly, what impression would I have if different words had been used?
Okay, take note of those question learners.
Okay. All right. Yes, Ma'am Pink.
And the bias must be because the information might be good, but try to analyze or examine the intention of the writer.
Okay, we also need to... Oh, all
On
right.
their activity, I think, Mamahalya,
Okay,
is...
so their activity is, I think, to identify the bias. No?
Yes.
So if there is a bias there... okay. It is actually about a carrot production, and then it states about things, no, like the sources. The carrots are actually sources of vitamin A and all, but then they were told that it is actually, there's a context there that they also need to address. Like for example, if they think that this bias, there is a bias, even if things or situations are presented very clearly or very well, there are still biases. Maybe because they wanted to earn a lot of profit if people would
Buy
buy a
carrots.
lot of carrots.
Yes.
So biases could also have something to do with the intention of the writer.
Okay, so for you to be guided on how to identify or examine the bias, take note of the words used by the author, whether they are used negatively or
Positively.
Okay, and of course, proceed na ta with our
English
grade-
9.
Yes, English 9 subject. And for our skill to develop this afternoon is to differentiate ta. Ganina examine, this time, differentiate
Biases from
prejudice.
prejudices.
Yes, atay bagong word, the prejudice.
Okay, so we already learned, learners, what is a bias. Let us just review or recap. So it means a tendency to favor one person, group, thing, or point of view over another, often in an unfair way. So it is an inclination toward or away from one way of thinking, often based on how you were raised.
Yes,
Okay.
and on the other hand, what is this word? Prejudice is an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. It is simply means to prejudge others. It refers to a preconceived opinion or feeling toward a person based solely on their affiliation with a group. It often casts an unfavorable light on someone simply because they are a member of some ethnic group, religion, or organization. There are many examples given on your SLM learners how to showing the difference between bias and prejudice.
And now, Sir James, we have actually a table
Yes.
that would tell us the difference between a bias and a prejudice.
The green one is for the bias.
Yes. A bias is?
So a bias is an inclination for or against a person, idea, or thing, especially in a way considered to be unfair.
While prejudice is a preconceived opinion that is not biased on actual experience or reason.
Okay. In bias, it expresses both negative and positive attitudes, but in prejudice, only negative attitude is present. And bias is the result of unfairness, while prejudice is the result of discrimination.
So there are really differences, although they might interchange
Yes.
these two terms.
Actually, prejudice is a result of bias because you cannot make a biased decision if you didn't have it prejudice first. If you did not take it in a prejudice, what do you call this? Prejudicism.
So
if you
one
didn't
is
apply.
affected
Yeah.
because of the other. All right. So there are, we have name bias, religious views, gender bias, group attribution bias, and bias, of course, in decision making. All right.
Okay, in prejudice, we have all the racism,
Sexism.
the lookism, the LGBT-based, disability-based, the religious-based, and weight-based. I would just like to clarify this one. In our previous slide, in the bias side, you favor only the name of this. You will not hire this person because her name is not Marites.
Okay.
Instead, her name is Marilu, and you like Marites or whatever.
I see, okay.
And the religious views, you just only believe in that and not with this.
Okay, yes.
Gender, you just prefer the male
Compared
instead
to
the female or vice versa.
Vice versa.
Or the group, because you belong to that group, you don't choose that girl or man or woman. And of course, in decision making, it will affect already. In the prejudice side, so in racism, you have a prejudgment. Oh, abi kay itom siya.
Yes, you
itong pod iyahang
there are
kalag.
associated beliefs, for example.
Sexism, abi kay babae siya.
Weak
right
away. But of course, there are a lot of women who are stronger
That's
than men.
right. Lookism. So you are particular with how the person look and how the way she dressed or was. And of course, this one LGBTQ
based.
Class.
This is very common nowadays. Disability based. So maybe he has a disability on
You
the
will
way
not
he
hire
walks.
that person
Yeah, you will not hire that
because
person because you believe he cannot perform the task or the
Okay.
job well. And religious based and the weight based or kining gitawag na to body shaming bitaw.
Yes, exactly. Which has been going on the internet.
That's right.
Yes, not only on the internet but even
Even.
outside our
Yeah.
home.
This is just heightened due
Yes.
to the fact that most teens are actually using social media platforms,
right.
and they have been exposing their bodies, something like that.
Okay, since your task is to differentiate, the first thing to do, Mamahalya, is to
Identify if the statement expresses a bias or a prejudice. So, for
Okay.
example, let's answer one on their
Yes.
activity. So, bullying and discriminating a person with a disability.
What do you think, learners?
Is it a bias or a prejudice?
Of course, because you have a prejudgment that a person has a disability and you bully and discriminate him, it's a prejudice.
Okay, it's already a prejudice.
And for our activity to Sir James,
The direction there is to answer the question that follows in 2 to 3 sentences only. So the question is, how will you differentiate bias from prejudice?
Okay.
May give your own example
Yes.
scenario. Okay. More discussions when we return. This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
living things ug non-living things, mga stars ug mga planeta, mga stars ug mga planeta, mga stars ug mga planeta. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to speak and write of the language of the world. Learn to understand the language of the world. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we write. This is the English way.
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so for our grade 10, our competency is actually to compose an argumentative essay.
Yes.
Okay.
And what is
So-
an argumentative essay?
That's right.
It is a piece of writing that takes a stance on an issue. It is in a good argumentative essay, a writer attempts to persuade the readers to understand and support their point of view about a topic by stating their reasoning and providing evidence to back it up.
That is correct. So you cannot just tell things.
Yes.
Like this is the truest truth, for example, without backing them up. So you really need to support them. So argumentative essays should have a straightforward structure, so they are easy for readers to follow. The goal of an argumentative essay is to clearly outline a point of view, your reasoning, of course, and evidence.
Yes, clearly outlined because you have to follow the structure.
So the first one in the structure is, Sir James?
The introductory paragraph. So the first paragraph of your essay should outline the topic and then provide background information necessary to understand your argument and outline the evidence you will present and states your thesis.
Okay, that's right. So what is a thesis statement? So this is part of your first paragraph. always most likely it is a concise one sentence summary of your main point and claim. So it could be written in the first part, or it could be the last sentence in the first paragraph.
Your introductory part.
Yes, introductory paragraph. And of course, we have the body paragraphs.
Okay, this is a typical argumentative essay, comprises 3 or more paragraphs that explain the reasons why you support your thesis. So if your thesis, you have a negative side on the issue, or you have a positive side on the issue, here in the body paragraph, you have to support that. Each body paragraph should cover a different idea or piece of evidence and contain a topic sentence that clearly and concisely explains why the reader should agree with your position. Body paragraphs are where you back up your claims with examples, researches, statistics, studies, and text citations. Address opposing points of view and disapprove them, or explain why disagree with them. Presenting facts and considering a topic from every angle adds credibility and will help you gain a reader's trust.
That is correct. So you also have the conclusion. So what is it, Sir James?
So the conclusion is a one paragraph that restates your thesis and summarizes all the arguments made in your body paragraphs. Rather than introducing new facts or more arguments, a good conclusion will appeal to a reader's emotions. So in some cases, writers will use a personal anecdote explaining how the topic personally affects them.
Yes.
All right, that's correct. So in your SLM, the directions is actually to open the link. You were given a link and watch the video on man's evolution. I think this is just quite simple. So after watching compose an argumentative essay, it is actually about the environment and of course how people have exploited and abused our natural resources. Yes, and of course the effect. So you might begin with, this is just an example, you might begin your argumentative essay by telling that increasing pollution during the last century has caused many changes in biological and genetic characteristics of species on Earth. So pollution can be considered as one of the causes of decrease in average lifespan of human beings and extinction of some of the species of Earth. So this could be your first or introductory paragraph. And of course, you need to provide the body and of course the conclusion to support that.
Okay, do not forget your thesis statement, learners.
Okay, because that's actually the glue that will hold everything together. Without a clear thesis statement, so you will not be able to write a very good argumentative essay. Yes,
be
that's
consistent
correct.
with your stand.
Yes.
Okay, and for our last attendance marker, our junior high school learners, it is now flashed at the top
of your screen. So we would like to thank a lot of people, especially to our executive producer, Sir Gus Seppi, and to the entire production team. Of course, to you, our dear learners, for continued support and patronage to Astral Academy. Alright, so this has been Ma'am Mahalia from Santa Maria National High School.
And your Ma'am Pinky of Sumirap National High School.
And this has been Teacher James Marpisa Porno of Sumirap National High School saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggap Stars.
This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
See you again next week, same time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.